I'm a man, father taught me work as hard as I can. Sits on your mind, make me proud of that trying. So I told my hands, bear it all till you understand why I'm on this earth long enough to write this next verse. Sipping on port, 20 years aged on a weekday morn. Think about monkeys on Mount Bator. Surfing the coast of Portugal in a rooftop dinner in Shanghai, desert safari in Dubai. These are the fruits of my work. Now it's time to get yours. Somebody ask me, how do you do it when you say all the thoughts in your head? Deleted the message. Here's what I'd say. These words are clever cause they're not from me but from my heart, and that's step one to showing you my love. And if this song won't do it, then I guess I'll never try again. That's step two, separating me from you. There's 1,000 miles, curvy roads, but that won't stop me. Planes, they know. No, no, no. In a million places you could go away to. Well, I don't know what to say, cause it's all about you. I can't even count how much I love you, and the rhyme scheme surely will deny me. But I gotta keep pushing, singing along. Anything for you, another sweet, sweet song. And there's people that watching me, no worries cause I'm blind to the stupid little fantasy. You're my reality, mean everything to me. There's a lot of me's, but it's all about you. Hello, my name is Ryan Kulp. Thank you for having me tonight.
Hello everyone. Thank you, Ryan, for the first song. Hello everyone. Is the mic on? 네, 좋습니다. Hi everyone. Long time no live and talk show. I'm really excited to have this monthly live and talk show back on my stream. And thank you so much, Ryan, for the first song. What was the first song title?
That song is called All About You, and it's actually one of my first songs from the year 2009.
2009. Oh my God, it's a really old song. So we have our special guest today because he is very special on our stream today because he's not Twitch streamer. He doesn't know anything about Twitch. So
I don't know anything about anything.
You don't know anything about? No,
That's
you
right.
know everything about anything, I think.
That's right.
Yeah, so because I did some research and he has done a lot of things in his life. So I'm really excited to hear his story and experience that he's done in his life. So yeah, Normie. Yeah, yes, he is Normie. All right, thank you so much. Okay, so Ryan, for those who don't know who Ryan Kulp is, could you kind of like introduce yourself to my chat a little bit?
Sure. So I'm an American, although I'm sitting in Seoul. I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, and after college moved to New York City, where I lived for around 7 years, pursuing startups, tech, entrepreneurship. In between that period, I also moved to San Francisco and LA for different projects, back to New York, and then I traveled to around 30 countries for a year and a half and decided to move to Korea at the end of last year, 2020.
End of the last year, so it's very recent.
Very recent.
Very recent. What made you like end up in Korea though?
There's sort of a short answer and a lot of long answers.
Okay.
Short answer is I wanted to pursue a second language
Okay.
as a kind of hobby. I wanted something that had nothing to do with technology to fill my day. I didn't want to look at a computer. I didn't want to write code anymore. And a second language sounded like a good idea. But Spanish, as a native English speaker, as all Americans watching this know, is maybe a little too easy for
It
Americans
is?
to learn. I don't know. We're sort of told to learn since a young age.
So you like challenges.
I wanted a challenge, exactly. And so I chose Korean, and since my childhood sort of vision has always been to be a musician,
Okay.
decided to merge those two things, learn a language, write music in that new language, and I moved to Korea to pursue music full-time here.
So you didn't have any experience in like in terms of like Korean or any like relationship, or you have friends like
When
Korean
I
friends
was
to like
in
motivate you to learn?
College, I had a Korean girlfriend.
Okay.
So I kind of like had heard I'd heard 이상하다, you know.
When
and
you
I
want
knew
to
how
learn
count to 10.
language, there's a saying, when you want to learn language, you gotta date someone from that country.
Yeah, at the time, yeah, we didn't speak any Korean,
Okay,
but
okay.
that was my exposure to it. Yeah.
And then, but you wanted to challenge yourself, not
right.
like, Spanish or maybe like French, where,
Right.
there's like an alphabet that you can easily learn.
Right.
But you wanted to learn new language, like
Right.
totally new language.
Totally new language.
Interesting. How many, so you say you went to 30 countries total? Which one was, besides Korea?
Sure.
Which one was like your favorite?
Two that I
country to
really
travel?
enjoyed, Colombia, but I was only in Medellin, which is kind of very tourist friendly.
Yeah.
But Medellin was amazing. Also, I went all over Portugal.
Okay.
So I was in Porto, Portugal, where port wine is from. And that was kind of like what San Francisco wishes it could be. And I also spent time in Lisbon, and I also went to a surf camp in Ericeira, about an hour and a half outside of Lisbon. And then lastly, I spent a month in Madeira Island, which is
Okay.
also Portugal, but it's off the coast of Africa. And that was a really fun experience.
Wow. Is there internet there? Like,
There's internet and a lot of steak.
okay, a lot
Yeah.
of steak.
They have their own private island just for cows that
Okay.
they eat on Madeira Island.
Wow.
You guys can fact check that.
I'm just like thinking, can I stream there? Like if I go there
Totally.
anytime in the future, can I stream there? It's so important to have internet for me. That's so great. How long did it take for you to travel like 30 countries?
Around 17, 18 months. Some places I spent as little as 5 days or as much as a month, month and a half. About 10 days per country though.
Oh my God. So I feel like you've been doing a lot of adventures, and you put yourself in a lot of challenges in your life, and we're going to talk about it as we go on. But before that, let's kind of talk about your musical career, because that's why you're here, right? You're here for you're here as a musician here. So you said you were in a tech industry first.
That's right.
But then you move on to like another experiences and challenges. Like, what made you to pursue
Sure.
in music industry?
Sure. So I've been a musician ever since I was a kid. Like a lot of us, I started playing in orchestra in 6th grade. So I started violin at age 10, became, I would say, quite good at that. I'm actually better at violin than guitar or anything else, but it's kind of a useless skill nowadays. But I started playing violin, and then I joined some bands, and we started writing music, playing a lot of shows. I actually performed over 300 times as a teenager.
300 times as a teenager.
Right.
Wow.
But I just couldn't figure out how to make money, right? So I recorded
True.
albums, we played shows, you get your 20% of the revenue from a show, and
Only
then,
20%?
Yeah, then you if there's like 5 bands, right? And then you split it 5 ways with your
Yeah.
band members,
Uh-huh.
and then you go to eat Taco Bell, and it's kind of like all
Oh.
gone. So I pursued it, I tried pretty hard, couldn't figure it out. Took a year off after high school to do that. Then I went to college and kind of said like, all right, let's just put that to the side for now and learn how to make money. And that's what I did for the next 7-8 years, was I got into tech and startups. I learned to code. I started a company, and then that same company I left. I stepped down as CEO last year to move to Korea.
Wow.
So finally bringing back my childhood vision, and we'll see what happens.
Well, it must be super hard for you to like step down from, CEO position.
It was, to be honest, I'd been doing that job for about 5 years, and I needed some kind of change. And the team was really in a great place. The company was in a good place. To me, creating companies, creating anything is kind of like all about making a system. And the last step of making a system is removing yourself from that system. And then you get to really see, was this a good system?
I'm writing that down. Remove myself from the system.
So,
Yeah.
as a founder, when you can step away and the company doesn't explode, then you've created a good system. And so that was what I did last September. And then a week later, hopped on a flight to Korea.
Did you just book flight in a week?
That's
Like-
right. I got the visa.
Yeah.
I got the flight, hired a new CEO. We announced it, and then I came out.
Wow. Oh my God. How do you? I thought I was pretty I thought I was pretty spontaneous person, but I feel like you're really spontaneous. Like you just do it right away on the spot.
That's not necessarily a good thing.
It's really great though.
Sometimes.
Yeah, it's really great. So you never had like a musical education? Like you never went to like musical school or
I
like
studied
major
violin in
Okay.
public school, of course, in orchestra. But other instruments, no, just kind of learning on the internet
Yeah.
and figuring it out.
Wow. So self-taught.
Self-taught.
Mostly. That's really great. That's
Mm.
really great. So I'm pretty sure there's a lot of musicians here.
Sure.
Why are you guys pepper pointing? Why? All right, so I'm pretty sure there's a lot of musicians in my chat too, and there's a lot of people who want to get out of normal life and try something new, but we're afraid of doing that. So I'm really excited to hear your story today, and I'm pretty sure my chat is super excited as well. So we're gonna accept some Google survey question to Ryan. So I was about to do it in advance, but I just wanted to give a new changes on this show, and I thought it would be great if you guys like submit the question right now. So moderator, could you please copy and paste the link, and then as we go by, we're gonna just check your question and question it to Ryan. All right, that's great. Don't tell, what did you guys do? All right, so I kind of did the research, and there is a link that you can listen to all his songs. And there's some song that was from 2008 and 2009,
Right.
which was intro song, right?
Right.
And I was really surprised by the title of the song, because some of the title was like different is the
Yes.
new same, appease and please, unfortunate inequality, and the last one is very interesting title, life is harder for a white man. So I try to listen to the lyrics, but I'm really bad at listening to lyrics. So
Sure.
I was trying to find on Google, but it was on the Google. So I wanted to ask you,
Sure.
what is the song about? Life is
Yeah.
harder for
It's-
a white man.
That song I did in 2008.
Okay.
So before it really mattered what race someone was. Nowadays, the world is obsessed with race. But that song is actually just about my parents.
Okay.
They don't really know this. If they're watching now, then they're learning for the first time. But
Wait,
I was-
they don't know it until
They don't
now?
know that that's what that song is about.
Oh, they don't know
Yeah,
the song.
It was kind of just like a teenage angst about how they disciplined me and how I was raised. It was a very strict household for a while, and we didn't get along until I was an adult. But yeah, so that song was about them. It's actually not about race at all.
Okay.
And I remember when it came out, some of my friends were like, "Why did you call it that?" And I don't really remember why, but at the time I thought it was funny.
Wow. Oh, so it's mostly about parents.
It's totally about my parents.
2008, you were how old?
18.
18.
I love being born in the
God.
90s for that reason. You just look at the current number and subtract. It's
Yeah.
really clean.
Oh, you do? Phil
Yeah.
Stankman. I don't know it. I'm really bad at math. But wow. Okay. So I feel because I listened to that song and it sounded so recent song, like your voice and everything was sounded so recent. So that was when you were 18.
I was 18 and I was playing a lot in church at the time.
Okay.
So I sort of think my songs sounded like church songs a little bit in
like
terms
a
of the
gospel,
tone. Yeah, the chord
Acoustic.
progressions. And since then, I've tried to grow out of that into a little bit more pop sounding tune.
I feel like your recent song is more pop.
Hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. That's great. All right. So let's see if there's any Ooh, we already have like 5 responses.
Oh, great.
That's so great. Ooh. So first question, what
Okay.
music do you listen to?
I listen to everything but country. Country is what we
Really?
call, you know, Southern country.
Yeah.
Where they talk about their trucks and their girlfriend sweater and
Girlfriend
their dog.
sweater? What is girlfriend sweater?
There's a joke about like what happens when you listen to a country song backwards. You get back your truck, your dog, and your sweater.
Oh.
So I listen to everything except that style.
Really?
I listen to EDM. I listen to a lot of rap. I listen to some house. I listen to classical, pop, rock, whatever. Screamo. I used to be a big screamo and.
Screamo is like a rock. Oh.
Yeah. And you know, there's screamo, there's post-hardcore, and there's metal.
Yeah.
They're different, but people who don't like that music just lump them all together as like death metal. But yeah, I'm a big fan of really everything except country music.
Because Twitch chat loves Country Road.
Oh yeah, take me
Da, da, da.
home.
They love that song.
That's a good song.
Yeah, it is a good song. Oh, all right, that's great. Okay, what about the the song that you don't like, which is country song? Is there a reason why you don't like country song?
Well, I grew up in the South. I grew up outside of Atlanta, and a lot of people there listen to country. My mom's a fan, and she has kind of a Southern accent. You know, they talk like this. Do you want some sweet tea? When you come over, we could sit on the front porch. But I've never spoken like that.
Okay.
I've never appreciated that 사투리,
The accent.
the accent, and I just rejected the sound of the accent. So when I hear country music, it reminds me of like my family's tone. And I just think the stories are sometimes too obvious and too overly sentimental. Kind of like be a little tougher. You know, life is hard. And if we listen to music all day about losing our dog, then I don't know if that's good for our mental fortitude.
True. I don't want to hear music about losing dogs for an hour.
Well, give it a try. and see.
Okay. Oh no. Well, good take. Good take.
Thank you, Zod.
Like metal makes it a lot more interesting. So I know because you seem like very. I don't know. I don't want to say this, but you don't seem like a guy who would listen to screamo.
Right.
I can't imagine you like screaming or head banging.
To be honest, I appreciate that. When I used to play in bands, I never wore the typical attire that like punk screamo rock bands do, right? Which was like the skinny jeans. And do you know carabiner?
Carabiner?
등산수단. It's like for rock climbing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the carabiner people use for their keys.
Yeah.
Long hair and like a shirt with your favorite band on it.
And then there's like a hole.
Yeah, holes. I've never owned any of that. I've never had long hair. I've never owned a shirt with the band's name on it, ever. Even though I love music. It just was never, I just never wanted to focus on like the fashion. I just wanted to focus on the music. But because I did that, I wasn't really taken seriously. And it's still a struggle today. In Korean pop, there's a certain look as well. It's not, you know, carabiners and heavy metal bands, but it's like maybe a little bit of makeup.
Oh,
and
idol?
A bowl cut, yeah, the idol look, and really skinny, and all of that's fine, but I have to make these decisions nowadays. Like, how much do I want to follow the image?
The trend?
Yeah, that some musician's supposed to look like, and how much do I want to just focus on the music? So like, even wearing a long sleeve shirt today, this is very weird for me.
Really?
Yeah, I usually wear $6 V-necks from Target.
You should have
Did you go there in the U.S.?
I love Target.
Target's
yes.
so great. Target, some people call it.
What is Target?
It's just Target, like
Oh my God,
French.
is it like a French way?
Yeah.
Target.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm gonna go shopping
Makes
at
it sound
Target.
premium.
Target.
Target.
You should have wear Target's t-shirt.
Next time.
Next time, yeah. I mean, this is actually really interesting because I have never thought that musician or artist would think about, you know, fashion. Because I thought it was more like whatever they want to wear. But somehow they follow the trend. They have to follow the trend, I guess.
I think that's one of the lies in the music industry, especially punk rock, things that are supposed to be anti-authoritarian and rebellious, is that And there's a song about this. All of the non-conformists are the same. One of the bands I used to listen to growing up, their song is all the non-conformists are just alike. So there's this group of people, when like early 2000s punk people, who like all dressed the exact same, but they all tried to make fun of everybody else for being the same. And that's a recurring theme. Nowadays, it's like the hipsters of Brooklyn.
Yeah.
They all look the same.
But they make fun of people
Yeah, they
being
make fun of
same
people.
and normal.
So that's kind of like a thing that needs to be pulled out of the music industry, in my opinion. I can't really fix it. I can just play my small role and like wear Tyongeee shirts when I perform.
Yeah, that's great. What is today's fashion?
Today's is 면바지.
면바지, okay.
Yeah, which is maybe more 일본식. I don't know.
Oh, is it like more Japanese style?
Maybe.
Kind of.
And then this is from that Another Awesome.
Okay.
You know that store? AA.
American
In
Apparel?
Hongdae, and yeah, it should be American Apparel.
Really?
But it's like
But they changed?
it's like that playground place.
Oh,
It's
okay.
kinda
I
like
know where that
You
is.
just walk in and they have all these shirts with like really bad English grammar. It's like eat Kit Kat bar yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Have good life.
Like on the
Yeah,
t-shirt?
$8.
True.
So it's from there.
There is like Nerdy or something like
Yeah,
that. There is
totally.
a brand called Nerdy in Korean. It's super popular. All the celebrity wears that. But if you translate in English, it's like nerdy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine. Okay, next
Have good life. Yeah.
one. So a lot of people ask me about this one. Ooh, and I think this could be a good question for next interview. But I'm just gonna say this right now. Thank you for coming out on Auntie's talk show. One of chat said, "I always want to be entrepreneur, owning my own business, but I think it's what most people want and dream nowadays. But you stepped out. You stepped down from being a CEO and pursuing the music career. So weren't you afraid of doing that?" It's chat's question.
Sure. I have a couple answers for that. Was I afraid? I guess the simple answer is no, because when you start a company, if you set it up correctly, if it's making money and you have some like jibun equity, then when you leave, you still get paid.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, because you have the
Like
stock
a
option?
이익분배, yeah. You just get some kind of check,
Okay.
like owning a stock and getting a dividend. So really leaving it was more scary to know if the new CEO would do a good job, but so far they are. And the second part is I think some of these things, when you learn how to, I don't want to say it like this, but when you learn how to code, if you stop coding, you can always pick it back up.
Oh.
And I think in entrepreneurship, like when you like learn how to sell and make money, you can leave and you know that you can come back and figure it out again. Of course, there's a lot of luck and timing involved, but the idea of if I were to totally fail here in Korea with music and I need to go back to technology, that's okay. I'll read a few of the new books that come out, I'll call up my old friends from the industry, and I'll start a new company and it will be fine.
You have a network
Right, I
already,
have a
like
network.
base in that field.
Exactly.
That's great. So you have you have old home to always go back.
Exactly. I have a lot better network in the United States than Korea.
Really?
Right? Oh, yeah. Korea, my network, I actually wrote it in a spreadsheet.
Oh.
This is like weird, but I have a spreadsheet called Black Book.
Black Book.
Yeah, so
Is it like some kind of Death Note or something?
No, I know about Death Note. It's like, for whatever reason.
Why is it Black Book though?
So in the USA, maybe not just USA.
Oh, is it like a term?
It's like a term.
Oh, it's an English term.
So like before cell phones, people would of course have some contact book
Yeah.
with when they meet someone and they get their address and number, maybe their birthday. And a lot of people called that a black book.
Black Book.
Even if it wasn't black. And so I have this spreadsheet called Black Book to pay homage to the 1990s era. And when I meet cool, interesting people, I put them in the Black Book, and that's how I keep in touch with people in Korea. But it has like 20 people in it, right?
Did you write my name on it?
I will after tonight. So I do it
Yay!
after I meet them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have like a category of which people
I
like
have
for example,
categories like
stream,
Music
business,
related,
yeah.
where they're located,
Yeah.
how we can help each other. That's one of my note fields.
That's
Something to consider.
is it Death Note?
Right, later on it became a Rolodex. That's exactly
What
right.
is Rolodex?
Rolodex is a thing that literally, like doligi, like contact card, and you flip through it. Oh, where is John Smith? You flip through it, and you flip back.
Auntie will have only one more week of her life. Monka W. Okay, good. That's really great. So that's like one of your skill, I would say.
Maybe.
Like business skill, keeping in touch with people and having
Sure.
networking.
Sure.
That's great.
So I'm going to text you.
Yeah,
in a
of
week,
course.
And then 3 weeks from now, and then 9 weeks from now.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
Is
But
that
kind of like that.
Oh, so you make like a check mark. And
Kind of like that.
That's
It's a good way to get kick-started. So if you ever, all of us have a network if we're still living where we're from. You don't realize that you have a network until you move somewhere new, and you realize, wow, I don't know who to call for plumbing. I don't know who to call to have dinner tonight. I don't know where I should go to get my driver's license. And you realize that your network was how you answered all those questions. But when you move to another country, or maybe just far away in your own country, you realize you have to intentionally create a network, because a network will not make itself for you.
This is just a personal question from me,
Sure.
because I used to be a person like that. I used to be a person who always keep in touch with other people first. But sometimes they don't respond in a way
Right.
that you want. Like
Right.
sometimes they just stop responding, and sometimes you think, why am I the only one who's doing this? Have you ever had that struggle when you
Of course.
did all the networking?
Of course, but it's also happened to me. I've been that other person too. There are people who kind of ask things from me a lot, over and over, and at some point you kind of have to create distance. So it's all about being mutually helpful, and that's the key ingredient. If I'm getting in touch with someone and they're not replying, maybe, I'm not saying this is what happened to you, but maybe they don't think that I'm adding more value to their life anymore. And so that, I would say that's my fault.
So it has to be mutual interest.
That's right. Symbiotic relationship.
Okay, symbiotic.
To get scientific.
I told you guys he's like super smart. Like I listened to all of most of his interview, and I was like, oh my god, he's a really smart guy. Really, really smart guy. Okay, thank you so much. And yeah, and then you told us about the reason you moved to Korea, and I didn't think it would be this much simple though, because I thought you had a friend here or family here or
no.
some relative here, but you just picked Korea to move
I did
here.
know someone here.
Okay.
And that's the person that helped me get a visa, which of course is critical, very important. The company that we were talking about,
Yeah.
it's actually called Fomo. It's
Fomo,
Fomo.com.
yes.
And I started that company a few years ago. And after a year or two, we started a program where you could refer customers and we would pay you. And this guy in Korea signed up for that program. And he started referring Korean startups. And
It's like a marketing
marketing
right?
tool.
Marketing
And
tool.
we were paying him more money than some of the other people, so we noticed this guy, and I emailed him, like, who are you, And we kind of became internet friends, just over email. And so during that 18 months of traveling, I came to Korea for a couple weeks as one of my stops. We had dinner, and he said, Ryan, if you ever wanted to live in Korea, I could help you figure it out. So I just put it in the back of my head, kept traveling around the world, and then when I decided on learning the language, doing music, coming to Korea, I called him back. We figured out how to get a visa, and now I'm here.
Wow,
So
another
I did
network.
have that connection. Right,
Yeah.
total network from 2017 when I first got in touch with him.
So one of Chad said, I swear I've heard FOMO before. Me too. I feel like I've heard
sure.
of FOMO before. It
Fo-
sounds so familiar.
FOMO is on a lot of websites. I checked a few months ago some of our stats. We were showing over 1 billion impressions per month across customer websites. So there's a good chance you've seen it if you do online shopping.
I do a lot of online shopping.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I saw you wrote that FOMO it stands for fear of missing out.
That's right.
So fear of missing out means you're afraid of missing something out. Like
So FOMO is usually experienced when a friend of yours goes and does something fun and you're at home.
Oh.
And you're watching what they're doing online.
Oh.
That feeling, that's kind of FOMO.
Oh, it's like Twitch chat when they miss out my stream and they have to
Exactly.
watch on VOD.
And then they cry.
Oh yeah. Because
Exactly.
they're gonna miss the fun that's happening on the live show.
That's exactly right.
Uh-huh. VOD frogs. True, right? Okay, that's really great. Do you like Korea so far? How do you
Korea's
like
been really great. I'm here because right now, for me, it's better than being in the U.S. So I believe all
Really?
Yeah, to me, all of us should be mobile. All of us should feel like we belong wherever we're at. And if we don't like where we're at, we should go. And it's not as easy as that. It takes
not easy.
planning, it takes money and everything. But if you want it bad enough, I think you can make it happen. And for me, I needed to be in a different environment than New York City. And Korea, Seoul has been really great for those missing gaps in my lifestyle I was looking for.
Do you find any difference between being a musician in Korea and in USA? Is there like a big difference?
Right now, being a musician in Seoul feels a little more unique. I think in general in the US, people are a little more entrepreneurial, and it's really normal for people to have side gigs, maybe that they make money or don't, especially in a place like New York City. There's a lot of arts going on. And I was in Atlanta before that, and of course I was in LA, and there's just so many artists, visual or musicians. In Korea, it feels a little more unique because, as you know, in the OECD, Koreans work like the top or
Super
second
hard.
most hours per week of any OECD country.
Yeah.
So there's literally not enough time for some people to pursue
To be
hobbies.
an artist, yeah.
And so when I tell people I'm a musician in New York City, they say, "Oh, cool," or "Me too."
Oh,
Right? When I say that in
It's
Korea,
pretty
they say
common.
like, "What?" But like, "What do you do for work?"
oh.
Right.
So what is your actual work? They
Right,
say.
like that.
Yeah, I think it happens to me too. Too like
Makes
when
sense.
I went to America, if I tell them, "Oh, I'm a streamer," they're like, "Oh, cool." Like,
Right.
what do you do? And they're like, "Oh, that's cool."
Yep.
But in Korea, they're gonna be like, "What? Like
Exactly.
streamer? Like what do you
Exactly.
do? Like how do you make money
Exactly.
out of it?" It's very
Exactly.
interesting. Do you find it difficult when people think it's unique in Korea, or do you find it as like your strength?
I guess it's nice if someone is, I don't want to say impressed, but surprised or curious, but it's not good for the ego, you know? Whether people care that I'm pursuing music here or that I'm an American, but I'm not living in America, none of that really matters. And I just have to remind myself to just focus on what I'm doing and not people's reaction to it, unless the reaction is to the music itself, you know? So there's always going to be challenges. Just being in Korea in 2021 as a non-Korean is a challenge. Like
It is.
Many people had to leave and go to their home country. Visas were canceled if you leave to go visit someone without a permit. So it's a very unique time right now to just even be here. But I can't focus on that. So in theory, I could write Korean pop music from anywhere. I'm just very lucky to be able to do it inside of Seoul.
You also write music in Korean though, right?
Nowadays, I try.
Yeah. So speaking of music writing, do you want to talk about your new album a little bit?
Sure.
Yeah.
So I'm stoked to announce tonight, officially, for the first time, I'm releasing my first Korean English album on September 30th of this year. It will be available everywhere you listen to music, including La Melon, which was very difficult. Melon is like Korea's version of Spotify.
It is one of the
And
biggest.
Unless you are like BTS, you cannot get on Melon, but we finally figured it out. Thanks to that same person who helped me come to
Oh,
Korea.
yeah.
This is like the gift that keeps on
Oh my
giving.
God.
So I'm releasing this album and I'll be playing some of those songs tonight.
So tonight will be like kind of acoustic version
That's right.
of his new album that's going to be released on September 30th. So please keep in tune, guys, and check out his new album in the future. And I was really surprised because most of his songs were in Korean, and you wrote them, right?
That's right.
The lyrics too, as well.
I wrote the lyrics and I had a tutor.
Okay.
Her fake name is Bongja.
봉자. Fake
Yeah.
name is 봉자.
실제
Okay.
이름 she doesn't like to be shared.
Okay, no problem.
But she's a fantastic tutor, and she does many other things outside of language teaching. And she helped me fix some of the grammar, or she would say this word is awkward, use that word instead. So I'll be crediting her on this album, and then people can look her up in the writer notes. But yeah, so I wrote these songs, and then she helped. And when I've recorded them, I've worked with 3 different studios in Korea. I've hired producers for my pronunciation. I've hired a pianist, a saxophone player, different musicians from Busan to Seoul and in between to help create these 5 songs. And I'm really excited about it. But like you said, the songs are full band, but tonight I'll just be doing kind of an acoustic version.
Yeah, acoustic version. So today is kind of exclusive
That's right.
performance.
Wonton exclusive.
Yeah, you will never hear acoustic version on the stage, on the live. So today is very exclusive. So when you write songs, I'm just always wondering because I'm not a musician, but I used to play piano. And I remember like when I was young, if mom tells me, oh, write something about hamburger, and I'll be like, ding dong, like that. So where do you get your inspiration when you write songs and lyrics? Because I feel like it's mostly based on your experience and your feeling and emotion.
Sure.
When I see the titles.
Sure. So, well, I'm still choboja, yeah. Yeah, I'm still a beginner musician, of course. But personally, I get inspiration from daily life, but a specific moment in a day, I might write it down. And then later, when I'm in the mood to write music, I kind of look at those sentences and say, how can I turn that into a song? So for example, recently I was at a restaurant and I was asking about some kind of food I wanted to buy. And they said like, blah, 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 corona 때문에, blah, blah, blah. And of course, corona has nothing to do with like being a food being sold out. It's just kind of become this excuse. Corona 때문에 is like, because of corona. And so
It's a great excuse nowadays.
It's a great excuse. You can say it for anything in Korea. Like, why are you double parking my cars? Oh, corona 때문에.
Because of
so
pandemic.
it's like everyone has heard this 1,000 times, that soundbite. So I wrote down, corona 때문에. And then I went to my computer and I got my guitar and I started thinking like, corona, because of corona, like life sucks. But then like, what if we could go back before corona? Like let's try to imagine life before masks and all of that. And so I started writing down like, can we rewind? Can we go back? Corona 때문에. And then that was the snowball for the song. And that song isn't done yet, but that's just one example where I'm at a restaurant, I can't order food, it turned into a song 2 days later.
I feel like you are also a great writer because you write like blog.
I write a lot of blogs.
A lot of blogs. He writes a lot of blogs, and I've been reading that a little bit before the show. And I feel like you like to like kind of record your daily lives, right?
Yes.
And I guess that's how you get the inspiration.
Definitely.
Like you look back at your diary, and you get inspiration from it.
Yeah. Someone. I don't know if this is like a dead person, a philosopher, or a modern day writer. Someone said this quote. They said, "Writing is thinking," and that really resonated with me. So when I think I have an idea about something, whether it's about the world or some law or how things should be, I kind of force myself to blog about it. And during the blogging process, I actually might realize that I don't even agree with what I initially thought. So there are some times I want to make an argument and then I argue
With
against
yourself.
myself. Right.
Wow,
and then I just delete the
interesting.
post because I don't even agree with it.
Record his daily life sounds like a streamer I know. It's like
Totally.
me. Yeah, it's like me.
Totally.
Like on stream, I just record it.
12
daily
hours.
life. But I feel like stream and diary is different because stream is more like performance and work.
Well, stream is live, and I don't just mean literally live
Yeah.
stream, but the diary is where you get to reflect on why you did what
reflect
you did.
on
And what you think about
what
it.
I think about. So I think it's a little bit different. So I've kind of started to write diary, especially when I went to USA,
Right
because
on.
I wanted to kind of leave the feeling and emotion that I had during the trip. And I've been reading that a lot after I came back from USA, and it's been helping me a lot to like, remind myself, oh, I was like this. I was thinking in this way. So
Very
I
good.
think it's a great way to
Very good.
to like find out about yourself.
That's right.
I think that's
Definitely.
what you do like throughout your whole life. Like you're trying to like find yourself first before you put it in a music or business.
Sure. Yeah, my old boss used to say when we were working on startups, he would say, we want to get to the truth as quickly as possible. And he was talking about like building some app. And the truth was, do people like it? Will they pay for it? Will they download it? But I think that phrase can be used in our everyday life. I want to get to the truth as quickly as possible. Can I make good music? Do I like living in Seoul? Do I actually like iced Americano, or do I just drink it because everyone else does? And the faster we get to the truth, the more truths we get to discover about ourselves, about our life, and then hopefully maybe we have a better life.
That's great. She noted all advice frogs, Pepe. Does he write his diary in his black book? I think he writes a lot of blog.
A lot of blogs.
On internet, so you can see it.
That's right. RyanCKulp.com. I have a blog there.
So I think my mod has a linkify of that shows all his works. So if you check his linkify, you can check all his YouTubes and blogs and everything that he's doing. Okay, that's really great. I can see that Chad has a lot of questions right now, but we're gonna ask him a more question as we go on. This time, they want to hear your music.
Great.
As well. So let's take a time to hear his beautiful voice again. Next performance will be one of his new songs.
That's right.
That is going to be released on September 30th, and also a cover song.
Right.
So please enjoy, guys, and help
Thank you.
yourself, please.
백수 in a tracksuit 그냥 띵긋거리고 miss you come home come home 지루해 without you what am I supposed to do 숨바꼭질 all alone 혼밥할 때면 보고 싶어 너만 있으면 돼 Cause I've seen you smile about 1,000 times And I know I can do it again Even though I can take back the things I did Do you hear me suffocating on your last words That you could do better than me Now I'm 백수 in a tracksuit Looking at the Changmoon Nothing to do but sing 혼밥할 때면 보고 싶어 너만 있으면 되는데 오래 기다리기는 힘들어 도와와 줄래 Cause I've seen you smile about 1,000 times And I know I can do it again Even though I can't take back the things I did But I paid the price About 1,000 times And I know I can do it again If you let me in This song is a cover. It's my only cover tonight. It's called Death of Me. It's by Tony Lucca. And Tony Lucca, nobody has heard of him. You haven't heard of him, right? You guys haven't heard of him. Tony Lucca was actually on the Mickey Mouse Club with Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake and a lot of other people who are now, right, very famous pop stars. But for whatever reason, he wasn't sort of chosen. He was just a character on the show, and then he grew up and had a pretty normal life, and then he came back to music, and he started writing songs about that. So I really resonate with some of his life story because I feel a little bit like that's what I've been doing. I wanted to be a musician, and I got into tech, and then I came back to music because that was really my calling. So this song is about someone breaking up with you after they said it would be forever. So kind of sad song, but a really great song by Tony Lucca called Death of Me. How long did you say you love me? Did forever take
too long. 'Cause if I owned my breath, you'd be the death of me. You told me you'd always be there, 'cause I must have heard you wrong. 'Cause if I owned my breath, you'd be the death of me. You promised you'd never leave me. Well, forever seems to come and go. You'll find yourself someone else. I find myself all alone. Begging, darling, won't you come back home? Yes, we just might be meant to be, and you just might come back home. But if I owned my breath, you'd be the death of me. You told me you'd always be there, 'cause I must have heard you wrong. 'Cause if I owned my breath, you'd be the death of me.
You know what that means? It's like getting woman's heart, you know? Very beautiful. Wow, clap, people clap.
박수.
Wow,
감사합니다.
박수. I think like your guitar style and your voice is good. 저희 혹시 에어컨 틀어줄 수 있나요?
아, 감사합니다.
It's a little hot, right? Yeah, you're sweating. I'm sweating too.
미국인이라서.
Wait, American sweats a lot?
I think so.
Yeah?
I think generally Korean people are better at handling heat, like in a house,
Really?
than Americans. Americans are all about air conditioning. Americans in the stream can back me up. Air conditioning is like
is it
number
true?
one priority.
In America?
Yeah.
But I heard that there are some apartments that doesn't have AC.
Apartments in LA, New York City, Boston, those buildings are kind of are really just like Korean buildings. There is no AC built in. Everyone has a window unit.
Oh, yeah?
But in the suburbs and in more modern cities, all of the air is in the vents and kind of you can't see it. Yeah, so that was another interesting part of moving to Korea. Is like,
Yeah.
I learned about Carrier brand, and I'm learning how to use remotes, and I never thought about it in the US. You set the temperature, and it's that way for 10 years, and you never touch it again.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa, interesting. So true? Oh. Well, I don't know. I thought like AC in Korea has like a better system than America. But
I do like the feeling of AC blowing on me in Korea.
oh.
So in my house, we have a few different ones in different rooms, and that's really satisfying. In
Yeah.
the US, it's kind of like random.
Oh.
So you have it on to your degree,
certain
and then like,
temperature?
yeah, in like 30 minutes, it will blow for a minute and then go
And then,
off.
so
But
it's
in
like
Korea,
automatic.
Right. In Korea, you just stand there like this.
That's so
until
good though. I
your
like
toes
that
freeze.
one.
Yeah, I like that too.
Because in Korea, it's just like you have to do it manually, kind of.
Right, right.
Interesting. Thank you so much. Yeah, I've been kind of sweating too, so I was like, oh, we need some AC. Okay, all right. So next interview, I'm really excited to ask you for current project that he's been doing, because he's been doing a lot of projects that he's working on, and I kind of want to ask you, can you kind of simply list up the project that you're doing right now, like
Sure.
just one by one?
Okay, I'll try. I'm on a weekly radio show. I'm on a weekly television show. I'm launching an NFT artwork crypto blockchain collection. I'm building a couple Korean apps. That app Linkify/Ryan, that's actually an app I made
Really?
with my team.
Oh.
I'm writing music, I'm YouTubing. with some friends, I just launched a crypto mining course so that Koreans can learn to mine crypto and make extra money. And I'm releasing this album. What else? I think there were some more things.
Photo
but-
studio too, right?
Oh yeah, and I just launched a photo studio where people can rent it by the hour, take photos, videos, whatever they want to do. We actually had our first paying customer this afternoon.
Nice, congrats.
Thank you. So I watched them on CCTV for like 10 seconds, and it felt really creepy, so I stopped.
Wow, how many identity do you have?
Just me. Yeah.
Do you ever get exhausted for doing a lot of work at the same time?
Lately, it's starting to, kind of collide. Getting double booked, or I need to do two things at the same time. I don't really like that. That was sort of how my New York City lifestyle became, and I didn't like it. And that's part of why I left New York. I was just gone all day, lots of meetings, lots of phone calls, sometimes with friends, drinking too much, going to drink meetings every night. So I came to Korea and I had nothing on my schedule. And I did nothing. And I didn't have an alarm anymore. And I thought that would be really fun to not have an alarm, because my whole life
Was with the alarm.
for 30 years, I had an alarm. So I turned off my alarm and I started waking up at 1 p.m., 2 p.m. And that was okay for like a week or two. And then I got a little bit like uljung and depressed, and I needed to fill my time with something. So like bit by bit, I added friends, and then working out more, and then studying Korean, and then tutors, and then language exchange. And then fast forward, I've been here around 11 months. Now I've kind of got a lot of stuff. Oh, and the other thing, I just launched the board game, 양말장난. So Korean board game that we just launched last month. So maybe it's a little too much for now, but I think it will cool down, because I'm trying to build a team here in Korea, the same way I did in America. Build a team, which is where you find people that are a lot better than you at each of the things that need to be done, whether it's customer service, design, marketing, sales, whatever. And that's fun for me, building teams and creating systems like we talked about.
That's ambitious, dude. Where do you get the ideas from all the business that you're doing? Because I feel like you keep coming up with the new ideas and
Sure.
new businesses.
I'd say 50% observation, and being unsatisfied with how the world works is a really good way to get into entrepreneurship. When you think something should exist, some people just complain, why isn't there this thing? Why
That's
isn't
me.
there a 24-hour pizza place? Because I want pizza at 3 a.m. But then someone else says, why isn't there pizza at 3 a.m.? Well, that means I'm going to make a pizza place that's open at 3 a.m. And because of that group of people, the entrepreneurs, we have things that we want. So there's this idea that entrepreneurs are just people who make the world the way that they think it should be. And they take a lot of sacrifices to do it, and it doesn't always work. I've failed many, many times in entrepreneurship. But so half of how to get these ideas is just from being annoyed with things that don't exist. And then the other half, I would say, is inputting content. For me, that's Twitter and social media. Instagram, I don't get a lot of value from seeing other people's food, and
traveling.
later grams, going to Jeju. It's like, I get it, but I don't really care. I'm more interested in people's ideas. And so Twitter is kind of this like free marketplace of ideas. And sometimes they're very nasty and people argue and debate. But I get a lot of inspiration from Twitter, and you get to learn like what is it that other people want that I didn't even realize. And so, for example, we learned that people want to know how to mine crypto. And we hadn't thought about it because we learned and we were just doing it. But when you realize that a lot of people are trying to figure something out, you say, okay, well, let's make a course, right? So all the ideas come from somewhere. Nothing is sort of like random combustion of chemicals in your brain. It comes from the outside, but you just have to open your ears to, I think, listen for it.
Because like a lot of people, they want to start business, you know, especially those who are going to corporate, who are working under corporate. They're like, oh, I want to have my own business. For me too, like I always think, oh, I want to have my own company. I want to have my own business. But it's really hard to even start your business. So what made you like how did you start your first company? That's what I'm wondering. And how I feel like after you have accomplished your like previous job, like stepping down from CEO position, I feel like you just like everything is so easy for you to start new business. For me, that's the impression I get.
Sure.
So what is your tips and how did you start it? Was there any difficulties while doing that?
My first thought is when people think of starting a company, they think they need to quit everything that they're currently doing. I need to drop out of high school. I need to drop out of college. I should not have kids. I need to get a divorce. I need to quit my job. There's always some big enemy, obstacle in the way of this business idea that they have. And to me, that's like fake news. That's not true. So for me, Fomo, which was the biggest, I guess, success I had, I was working full time for the first 2 years of Fomo. I didn't get paid a single dollar from Fomo for 2 years.
So
maybe
you
a
were
year and
full time?
8 months.
But
I was
then-
full time at another company.
Oh,
And
but
I
you
was
worked on
doing
the FOMO.
like nights and weekends. And sometimes I would send an email during the day, at my office, but they knew about the company. And I didn't get paid. Every dollar we made, we put it back into the business. And then when it was healthier, then I quit my job and worked on it. And that strategy worked really well for me. And there's two strategies: quit everything, focus on one thing, or do a lot of things at one time. And there are really smart, successful people who promote both strategies. But to me, I just prefer the advice of never allowing yourself to do something that could ruin you. So Nassim Taleb, the author, and he's like a stats guy. There's not a good way to describe him that he would not laugh at. But he essentially says, always avoid ruin. So like if you want to invest in stock, cool, but don't invest everything. Never allow yourself to do something that will kill you. And with starting a business, it doesn't have to be like that. You can keep a job, work nights and weekends. The real question is, where do you find that energy to work after work?
Yes.
Where do you find energy to work for free?
Yes.
Especially when you
That's the
come home
question
from
I
a
have.
job that pays you and then you have to work for free. And I think one of the solutions to that is getting a lot of instant gratification. So humans need to be sort of like gratified. If I like crank the wheel, I need to hear like a cha-ching and I need to get paid for that. So when we start companies, we can achieve that by sharing what we make early and often. When people build things in private for 6 months, of course you lose all your energy to work on it because you're not getting any feedback loop from your potential customers. But when you pre-sell or when you talk about it on an interview, what you're working on, you create these public promises, gongyak, and then you have to stick to them and it creates this feedback loop. And before you know it, you're live, you're making money, and then based on your goals, maybe you could quit your full-time job if you want to. So I think the first step is really just reprogramming our brain because we're not taught in school how to take risks. We're not taught that you can actually do both. You can have a job and also take a risk at the same time. And we're definitely not taught how inexpensive it is to start a business nowadays. Most of us, we don't have to buy machinery and equipment to start a company in 2021. We can make an app for free in our room. We can pay someone across the world to make that app for us for a lot less than you'd think. So it's really just our own lack of self-belief, I think, that gets in the way. But yeah, I struggled many, many times. I started many businesses that failed before FOMO. So it was all a learning process. So it's really important to note that most of the things I've ever done were complete failures. Yeah. But in entrepreneurship,
But you never like quit.
I never quit because in entrepreneurship, you only have to be right one time.
Oh.
You can be wrong a lot of times. You just have to be right once.
What was the like a worst experience in when you were entrepreneur? Like I mean, there must be best one, like good ones too, but there must be worse one too, right? Like really bad experience that you think.
There
"Oh
was
my
an
God."
experience where it went from the best experience to almost the worst experience in like 2 seconds. So I was with my team, the FOMO team, and we were in Italy, and we were on a team retreat. We went to Italy, and we raced in the Barcellona 50, a big yacht. We rented our own sailboat yacht, and we raced. We placed 800 out of 3,000 boats. We didn't know what we were doing. And we were celebrating, and it was one of the best moments of my life to be with the group of people. There were maybe 9 of us. It's like, I made this team, we made this company together, we're celebrating that we've been growing and making sales and everything, everybody's happy. And then, we're drinking a little bit, and one of the guys we're on a kind of cliff, and one of the guys jumps up onto this ledge, and he does this, and he really, really almost fell and died. And it was hundreds of feet, maybe 100 meters, 200 meters down. And immediately the other 8 of us grabbed him and pulled him down. And the energy went from like euphoria, like I feel like I had self-actualized. You know, there's nothing greater than sort of, and to me, like making something happen and being with your crew that you did it together with. And in an instant, it almost like disappeared. It could have been the worst moment of all of our lives. And so that was a reminder that when you pursue entrepreneurship, you're taking on all these responsibilities that you didn't really sign up for, you know? You think you want to be an entrepreneur because, oh, I don't want to have a boss. I want to wear my pajamas when I work. I don't want to drive to an office. I want to work wherever I want. And then as it goes by and you build a team and you make things happen, you realize there's a lot more you have to do. You have to be like a therapist. You have to learn how to do taxes and spreadsheets. There's like all these responsibilities. And so it's just, I think, useful to be prepared for things you don't even know you need to be prepared for.
Oh my God. I'm glad that he's fine though.
He's fine.
Yeah. Could have been like literally worst experience
It could have been
in
the
life.
worst. And I hesitated to share that story versus like some time where, you know, we failed and we lost money, but you know, you could always make more money. You can't bring a person back. So
True.
yeah.
Be safe, guys.
Be safe.
Always be safe. That's all. That also applies to me too. Like whenever I stream and do some reckless stuff, always make sure it's in the safety zone.
Right.
Yeah.
By the way, everybody arguing in the chat, I am 31. I was born in 1990, not 2000.
Why are you guys so obsessed with the age?
Yeah, but I appreciate that you think I'm born in 2000.
They want to know like how old you are, so like they want to know like, oh, who is this guy? Like how old is he to do this, do all this
I
stuff
see.
in his life? I think.
When I was 21, I did absolutely nothing. Yeah, if I was born in 2000, I'd be 21. When I was actually 21, I did absolutely nothing. Yeah.
So wise for his age.
Oh
But I
my.
think he's pretty young. I feel like you're pretty young, like compared to other people who has that much experience.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think so. Done more than I probably ever will. Me
Don't
too.
say
Same
that.
here. Me too.
Oh,
same.
come on. Don't. That makes me sad.
No.
Don't say that.
That's great. Okay, let me get the question from chat, and you can still submit the question, guys, as we go on. This is really good question. You seem to be mentally strong, and I highly agree with that. Was it the music background that made you so, or anything else? What skill or skills did music give you?
Oh.
What is your tip to stay strong and mentally strong?
Wow. Well, thank you for whoever said that. I can start with some simple things that I recommend to everyone. It's really difficult to make some advice, right? Like everyone's so different, but like, for example, I didn't drink until I was 21. I just wasn't curious. I could have, right? I was playing in screamo bands when I was 16, and
But you didn't drink.
my band members, yeah, they were smoking weed and drinking before the show, and I just never got into it. You know, I watched them drink and smoke, and then they played too fast on stage, or they messed up a chord, and I saw no good results coming from that, and I kind of internalized, and this might make some people upset, but I internalized one sentence: drugs are for losers, and then I just like stuck with it. And as I've gotten older, you know, when you're young, people do drugs and like everybody's kind of same. You're like, we're in college, you're doing drugs, I don't. You're getting A's, I'm getting B's. It seems like it doesn't matter. And as I think you get older and become like young professional and you enter your career, whether you go to school or not, it doesn't matter. You start to see the effects that some of these things have. And I've seen in my experience, friends that I had, those who did those kinds of things, drugs, just like, it really messed up their life. So that's like a very simple one. Am I straight edge? Yes, straight edge. That's a really good, that must be someone around our age, because straight edge is like a
Straight
term
edge?
that you don't do drugs.
Straight edge.
Yeah, but it's kind of like a cool way.
Okay.
So like,
to
let's
say
say we're in a back room at a venue and I'm
Uh-huh.
in a cool band
Yeah.
and you're in a cool band and like you have weed and you want to pass it to me, and I'm like, nah, bro, I'm straight edge.
Oh.
So it's like a way to communicate without, I'm not judging you that you do drugs. I'm just saying like, here's my identity.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm
I
straight
don't need
edge,
to do
but I've
it.
never said it that way. But I did start drinking at 21, but I didn't do anything like drugs and drinking before. That helped. And then second, I read a lot of books.
I can tell.
You know, you can learn from other people's experiences. That's so valuable. Like I've read hundreds of books written by hundreds of very different people over the span of hundreds of years of time, right? I don't just read something that was written last week on the New York Times bestseller list. And you learn a lot from that, and very quickly, you know, as fast as you can read anyway. And then I'd say thirdly, you know, I have sort of a faith in a higher being, which we don't really have to talk about, but I get some confidence, I guess, from that. It's like, what's the worst that can happen? It's like, nothing. The worst that can happen is nothing. And when I embrace that, yeah, taking a risk, you know, trying some business project, it fails, who cares? There's much bigger problems in the world. So those kind of contributed to it. And then, of course, as you experience a win, whatever that means to you, that just really builds on your confidence. And that could be good or bad. Some people find success and then they think they are invincible. And then they become no jam, like they become very arrogant and not fun to hang out with. So there's this fine line of like, use your wins to increase your confidence, but also stay humble and realize you don't know anything. You know, like I don't know anything and nobody cares about me. Everybody cares about what they're doing. So finding that balance, and again, that just goes back to maybe reading books.
Is there any book that you want to recommend to me and my chat?
Oh, so many
books.
good books. What?
I like psychological, like, base books.
Yeah. I recently just reread kind of a long book, Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance.
What is it again?
Zen
Zen.
and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance.
Okay. Write it down, chat. Write it down.
It's a philosophical, it's a philosophy book. It's actually fiction, and I never read fiction, but it's the story of this guy riding across the country with his young son on a motorcycle. And they're traveling with some friends, and they're camping and making stops. And when they're in there, these stops, he's kind of thinking, and it's written in first person view. He's thinking about the world and technology, and it was written in like the 70s, but it's been updated a couple times. Robert Pirsig maybe is the author's name. Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance instead of management. That's exactly right. Very good book. Took me a while to get through it, but it really made me think about the role of technology and relationships with other people. You don't have to care at all about motorcycles.
Yeah. Wow. Have you ever had like a struggles though? Like, I must say you have, right?
Of
like,
course.
Because you said that you experienced a lot of fail in business, and you had to. There must be a way, or there must be the time that you had to get over with the struggles, and go forward, right? What was your? How did you overcome those struggles? Like, how did you stand up again from that difficulties?
Well, first I'd say I've been very lucky. So I've been lucky to have a positive attitude. I've been lucky that
I feel like he's like,
I'm optimistic generally,
yes,
usually.
Really optimistic.
But I also think optimistic we can learn to be optimistic, just like we can learn to be angry with other people. So one of the struggles I had that's maybe useful for other people, it was really my first job out of college. So I went to school in Atlanta, where I grew up, and then I moved to New York City for this job. And I was really excited for it. I was excited to live in New York City. I was excited to have a full-time job and not just like an internship or something. It didn't pay very well. I had to work a lot. The company, the people were amazing, and they're still going today, 8 years later. But I had a lot of self-doubt doing that job, the most in my life, because all of my friends were graduating and getting like better jobs.
Yeah.
And they were going to like cooler cities, or like had better titles, or getting paid more. Maybe getting paid, some of them getting paid like 4 times as much as me. But we were all the same age. And I started to think like, maybe I'm not really that smart. Like I can't really, you know, if this person makes twice as much as me, they're 2 times smarter than me. And I started to believe that. And I considered moving back to Atlanta and quitting the job and just like, I wouldn't know what to do next. I just thought maybe this isn't the environment for me. There's these ideas that like you can make it in New York, you can't make it in New York. And I thought maybe that was me. And so I just toughed through it. And I got people's advice who were older than me and a lot smarter than me, had coffee with them. And they said, just stick with it. They said, read books, start freelancing. And so that's what I did. I started just following these people's advice. And on day 365, exactly 1 year into that job, I did it as a symbol. I quit and I started freelancing and immediately was happier, made more money, learned more skills, started building a better network. I stayed in a great relationship with that company. I went to both of the founders' weddings in the last few years. And everything kind of worked out. That was my start. But that could have gone so many different directions. If when I had worked in New York City for 3 months and I thought, my life sucks, you know, my apartment didn't have heat. It was in an illegal building. So I woke up and I could see my own breath. And I wrote this in one of my songs called Elon Musk. That song, I have a lyric. I woke up in Brooklyn in Bushwick and I could see my own breath. The landlord was crooked, like a legal person. And I almost gave up, but I didn't give up thanks to other people's encouragement. And then everything kind of started to work. And so that's kind of now what I want to pass on to other people. Like, you're like 4 months into some struggle, but it could actually be a critical experience for your future, for your life. Just kind of push through it. And Ryan Holiday, for another book recommendation, he wrote a book called The Obstacle is the Way. And what he keeps saying in the book is that the only way out is through. And so we have to change our mind from like escaping from problems to just going right through them. And then they go away, right? So like having a performance, having an interview tonight. This is like an obstacle to me being stress-free, right? I'm like rehearsing this week and doing, but like to get out of this, I have to go through it. Like I have to perform, have fun, bring my whole self, answer every question honestly. The only way out is through. So that was a struggle and how I handled it, and it's really, you know, kind of why I'm here now.
Oh, I didn't know you also have that. Like before the show and even before stream, I always have struggles. Like I'm like, oh my god, I don't want to do this. I just want to like quit everything.
Eat
I
ice
just
cream.
want to, eat ice cream or watch Netflix because I get so nervous. I still have nervous like before streaming all the time, but I always look into myself on the mirror and be like, okay, you have to go through this today. That's the only way you can get over with this.
Yes.
So I didn't know that you also feel in the same way.
I hope it's normal, but
Yeah. Apex is also same. Well, Apex, like for me, like when before I stream, like I just get nervous wreck. Like it's still going on for a whole 2 years. I think first year streaming, I didn't have that because streaming was hobby. It wasn't my job. I didn't really get stressed out of numerical things. How many subs, how many viewers. I didn't get any like stress out of that. But now it's my job. It depends on
so true.
like this numerical thing depends all my career or my future from now on.
That's
So
so
I get
true.
super stressed. How many people am I gonna have? How many, like, what would be the result today? So because of that, I just don't want to stream because I don't want to get that stress.
Yeah, I've been like, I used to be able to easily talk about, you know, what are you doing? Oh, I'm a startup guy. And now the only thing I'm able to say is the truth, which is like, I'm a musician.
Yeah.
But it feels weird to say I'm a musician, like I'm like a fraud, right? Like, and but that is what I'm doing. But when people ask me in Korea, what do you do? I usually just say like I'm an app developer.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
or if I don't really like the person, I say I just drink iced coffee. And I just don't. I don't want to say like and I definitely don't want to say like I'm a musician because then it makes it very real. Like you just said, it's like now it's like,
true.
well, when my voice cracks in 5 minutes on my next song, you know, what are you talking about? He's not a musician. His voice
Right.
cracked.
Yeah.
So yeah, when it's like again what we said before. Once you decide to do something, like you get all these responsibilities that come with it. So when streaming was a hobby, you could do things a certain way and it didn't matter. And then now you started to feel more responsibility that you have to do things a different way because it's your identity now.
I was actually hesitant to say I'm a streamer, like to people until last year, and I told you like I became full-time streamer last year, and I told people, oh yeah, I'm full-time streamer, but still, like, if I have a good result or outcome,
Right.
I'm proud to be a streamer.
Yes.
But you know, it's not consistent. You know, as
Right.
a musician, like being a freelancer, especially in entertainment or contents business,
Right.
you have to keep up, but it's so hard. Like things doesn't work out in a way you want. So if the result doesn't come out in a way that I expected or a way that I want, I don't want to be call myself as a streamer. I
Right.
just try to find backup plans, which I don't know what it will be. So
Right.
I think it's all struggles that every content creator have.
That's right. I agree with that.
Yeah. So keep up with the trends. I don't know. So it's but I like how like I can kind of find my struggle by talking with you.
I think we have a lot in common.
Yeah, a lot in common.
We don't have a boss telling us what to do
True.
every day. And that's exciting at first. Like, first day you quit a job, you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, screw that guy. And then day two, you're like, oh, what do I do now?
Yeah, I know.
And then that doesn't totally go away, ever, you know? I have friends or family that still don't really understand, like, what do I do? Or why am I doing this? Or
Same.
why did I quit that good job I had? And they might still ask about it today, even though that was like 5 years ago. And you have to we have to embrace the ambiguity and being uncomfortable.
True.
We have to become comfortable with being uncomfortable, something like that.
Do you ever want to go back to that comfortable zone, or do you like the way it is right now?
I want to go back to feeling more comfortable, you know, feeling less stressed, having more free time, but I'm not willing to kind of give up the freedoms you have as an entrepreneur to do that. So part of what I'm doing in Korea is, you know, I have these goals with music, and I've kind of made a commitment to myself. I wrote down specifically what the goals are. And after I accomplish them, if I accomplish them, I'm promising myself to like go back to hanging out. Maybe that means go back to US, maybe that means like move to the suburbs instead of the city, just do something different to chill out. So I do want to return. I do miss being more comfortable sometimes, but I haven't ever been able to really achieve anything while being comfortable. You know, and so I have to just kind of like remind myself of that. Like, this isn't forever. It's like when you're studying for a test, and like
True.
the day you take the test, you'll never regret any moment that you spent late night studying. You'll only regret moments you could have studied and didn't. So I try to think about that with these goals in life. It's like, just push really hard, make it happen. Life is tough. Life is pain, as the Buddha says, and every solution to every problem just creates a new problem. And just embrace that, and then kind of take breaks in between for your mental health, and so you can regroup and decide what you want to do. But I'm not going to quit just because I'm tired. You know, I will stop when I am done. Yeah.
That's great. So I think a lot of chat want to actually know, like, what kind of business are you doing? What kind of project are you doing? Because you told us the simple list of what you're doing right now. So I kind of prepared a little bit of a video
Sure.
of each project or some of project that
Oh,
you've
wow.
been doing. So first one, can we play the English song
Great.
video?
I worked my whole life just to get right, just to be like, look at me, I'm never coming down. I worked my whole life. 안녕하세요. 저는 서울에서 사는 라이언이라는 음악가예요. 이번 비디오는 로제의 노래 On the Ground에 대한 설명이에요. 시작!
Oh my gosh, season 2.
I used to have a hole in the wall with a mattress.
Hole in the wall. This is a set phrase that means a crappy, low-quality place. It could be an apartment or a restaurant. In this lyric, Rose is saying she had a cheap, broken apartment before she became rich and famous. But people also say this to compliment really cool bars or restaurants, such as, it's just a little hole in the wall, but they have the best barbecue. Or, I used to work at a hole-in-the-wall bar, but my boss was really nice.
I used to be an English teacher too,
Oh,
and I
really?
taught students in that way, like
No
pop
way.
song and then like try to explain the
It's fun.
espresso. It is really fun.
Yeah.
So that's on his YouTube.
That's right.
Right? So your main target is Korean, I guess,
That's
who
right.
want to learn English.
So I came here last year and immediately sat down and started thinking, how can I build a Korean audience? And the same way we did it in technology, and everybody says this, it's like a cliche, but you just have to add value to someone. And a lot of people in Korea are, intensely studying English and learning
Yeah.
English so that they can work abroad or increase their salary or whatever. And so one of the things I do on YouTube is I have a thing called 가사 의미, which means lyric analysis. And I cover pop songs and then explain natural expressions. I provide example sentences. It's kind of just an experiment. So some of the videos get 100 views. Some of them, like Peaches, immediately got like 10,000 views. Because
Wow.
I did it the week the song came
Yeah.
out. You never know. It's all an experiment. But it's been fun to go through that and see the comments from people because it's really difficult to learn natural expressions in a textbook.
True.
Really impossible.
Yeah.
You have to learn it in an analytical way like this.
So how many times do you do that often? Like
So-
once in a week or?
Every week I have a kind of content meeting on Mondays
Oh,
where we figure out what to make. And I
so
try to
you have a team. for
have a
that.
small team.
Nice.
Yeah. Team helps with shooting, editing, promoting, finding tags, keywords, what kind of video content should we make. And so we do a few 가사 의미 songs per month. We do some vlog stuff. I do like reviews. I recently did a crowdfunding campaign on What Did You?
What did you?
So I did a review of that and just trying a lot of different things
Wow.
to add value to Korean people watching YouTube so that as my music comes out, I can say, hey, if you've liked all of these videos I've made about English or daily life or whatever, maybe you can also check out my music.
That's great.
Yeah.
Wow. So you don't edit by yourself. You have a team who's doing it.
I have a team.
That's good for you. I thought you were doing it all by yourself. I was like, is 24 hours
Like I
enough
said,
for you?
I don't know how to do anything. But that's
But you have a good people around.
really good people. It's so important. It's like another expression that always comes to mind is to go fast, go alone. To go far, use other people, work with other people. And I've had my share of doing projects alone, and it's fun, coding an app at 3 in the morning, and you're not waiting on anyone else, and you just launch and do it the way you want. But it's never as good as when I work with a designer, and then I work with a better
True.
developer, and I work with a salesperson. And it just takes kind of, swallowing your pride and saying, what do I not know how to do? And how can I remove that barrier? And so with me in video content, I'm not even good on the camera. I mean, I'm not good at each piece of it, but I can kind of play guitar and kind of sing. Someone else is really good at design, video editing, captions, et cetera, et cetera. So working with the team allows you to just do get a lot more stuff done.
That's great. One of chat said, knowing the right people for the job is also a skill.
For
I
sure.
highly agree with that.
For sure. And I think it's easier to recruit people for a job when you've done it yourself. Right? And that's definitely true in tech. When you code a little bit, even if you're not very good, you're going to be better at hiring a developer and interviewing them and knowing if another developer is good or not. And some people try to immediately hire a bunch of people to do jobs that they've never tried. So if you open a restaurant, like you should make the hamburgers before you have someone else start making hamburgers. You should do the cash register before you hire someone to do that. And that's also useful because again, it keeps us really humble. Like take out the trash,
Yeah.
at your company and stay in that mindset.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, thank you so much.
Sure.
And also next one was very interesting project that I found that he was doing, which is board game.
Yes.
Right? So let's watch a little bit of a clip of what it is, and I'm ready to hear his explanation about it. 보드 비디오.
All right, hello everyone. My name is Ryan. I'm here with John and Mac, who you have to already know. If you don't know them, that's your fault. These guys are Americans, but they speak Korean as if they've lived here their whole lives and they've only lived here a few years. They're quick learners. They're really cool dudes. Anyway, we're here today to play 양말장난. This is a game that I co-created. It's for Korean native speakers as well as people who speak Korean like John and Mac. And what we're gonna do today is play the game. I'm really curious who will win. and it's basically a word game where whoever creates the most words at the end of the game wins. Moo.
Oh,
You guys eat moo?
So I'm thinking of this like way too hard. I gotta think of simple words. Okay.
There you go.
Moo.
Moo. I'm gonna steal that and make it kum. Dream.
Okay.
Steal the whole world. Metal.
Metal. Shimwa.
It means like.
I don't know this word.
It's kind of like slang, but it's basically like the translated version of like when you're making fun of someone when you go like na 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 woo woo. It's like that.
Wow.
But, yeah.
처음 들었어.
Yeah.
와.
Melon, melon, melon. I kind of edited the end.
Kind of. I didn't remember that in the original video.
Yeah? So,
Metal.
metal.
Like that? Okay.
I always do that on stream. So I was like, oh, maybe I should edit a little bit of the
Amazing.
end of it. Wow. So, board, it's kind of like a Scrabble, right? Like the word.
Kind of like a Scrabble, but there's no board.
Uh-huh.
So instead of making a crossword, you make words in front of yourself, and other people can steal your words and combine them into new words.
And I thought it was pretty intelligent and incredible because in Korean, when you learn it, you have to divide into the 4 square. And
Right.
that's how you put the character.
Right.
But that's how you actually put the words together, like four
Exactly.
blocks total, I
Exactly.
guess. Yeah.
So they're square letters, pieces, and you can arrange them to kind of create a
word.
2-letter syllable, or
Yeah.
a 3-letter syllable, or a 4-letter syllable. And I've been learning a lot of interesting words like the manol
Yeah.
from playing with native speakers. And we just launched a month or 2 ago. We did a small crowdfunding campaign, and we got some cool press from that. And just every week, some interesting opportunity is coming through because we made this Korean word game. And so now we're just in these early stages, as startups do, figuring out our target audience, making marketing materials, making advertisements, working with influencers. All of my past life is coming back to
Yeah.
me. But instead of an app, it's now a physical product that we get to put in the mail and ship. So it's been a really fun experience.
I was actually wondering that because you're a tech person. So I thought, oh, if you're going to make a board game, I thought you were going to make it into the app. But you actually made a physical board game.
Right.
Was it a reason why you made a physical board game instead of app?
So kind of like my reason for moving to Korea, I didn't want to look at the computer all day anymore and do coding. And so making an app game, it's like, nobody wants a new app on their phone, at least not me. And so what we wanted to also do is, because we're using the Hangul characters created by King Sejong Daewon, we just like wanted to create something that honors that heritage or the history of the Korean language of Hangul. And so we chose cherry wood, we chose kind of this like dark wood finish. So I think it helps better tell the story of what we're trying to do, even though it would be easier to just make an app.
Yeah.
Having a physical game is really nice because it also, we're selling to kids, and I think a lot of parents are concerned that their kids spend too much time like on an iPad. So this allows the kids to, practice their dexterity and feel tactile objects and make words. And so it's been really rewarding to jump out of the code world and make something that you can really touch and feel.
I feel like this board game could be not only for like foreigner who's learning language, but also for like little kids, Korean kids who's
Definitely.
learning Korean as a
Definitely.
kid.
So one of the people I hired, her name is Joy. We worked together on YouTube stuff. We worked together on this game. She had the idea to start reaching out to mommy bloggers on Naver
mommy
and
bloggers
Facebook.
are so powerful.
Huge group, huge.
They make tons of money first of
Yeah,
all.
and they really trust each other. These
Yeah.
are small networks. Sometimes they're big networks of moms who just want to be the best parent they can be. They want their kid to be smart, grow up, go to Harvard. I don't know what someone's goals are. And so we've had some great success sending the game to them, and watching kids
Nice.
play something that you kind of made in your bedroom has been really rewarding.
And I like the concept. I kind of put it on the video. You can take away other person's words and make it into the new word.
Exactly. So let's say, like in Korean, there's the word san, which means mountain. Someone else might steal it and change it to sun, like first. And someone else could steal the same letters and change it to not, like the knife when you're farming.
Yeah.
And so as you play the game more and more, you start to kind of think in these ways with words where everything is like a different combination, and it feels like an exercise for your brain to play the game, and you also get to learn and have fun.
And you know, really interesting fact is that he only came to Korea last year. And is that when you start learning Korean? Like last September or?
I started learning before I came. I started learning, I've been learning almost 2 years, and my 2-year learning anniversary is in a month or two.
Yeah.
So
his
half
Korean
the
is
time I've learned
perfect.
Korean, I'm here. Oh, come on.
Like, I was really surprised. I thought you lived here for a long time.
Oh, well, that's really nice.
Yeah, really, really intelligent. Yeah. All right. And last but not least, last video we have is he's actually not only a musician and YouTuber or entrepreneur. I feel like you're also a celebrity.
Oh, no.
And here's the reason why.
I'm so excited for tteokbokki. Me too.
나 떡볶이 진짜 좋아하는데.
I don't know what to think.
안 좋아?
Never tried.
You've never tried tteokbokki? Yo, he's never tried tteokbokki. Really?
떡볶이 안 먹어봤어요?
한 번도? 아 진짜?
Oh my god.
네, 한 번도.
아니 떡볶이를 한 번도 안 먹어.
방금 먹어본
한 번도 안 먹어봤어요.
왜요? 친구들 많이 안 먹는
고기
거
없었으니까.
So you're on the weekly TV show. 뭐지? What was it again?
Baek Jong-won
Baek
class.
Jong-won class. So Baek Jong-won is like a really popular chef in Korea. I think a lot of you guys know him, and his YouTube is really big too. So I was like, oh my god, you're on the weekly TV show with Baek Jong-won. It's really great. How's the experience there?
It's crazy. Well, first of all, I've never done TV, and how I got that gig was complete luck. They found me on Instagram. A writer messaged me through Instagram earlier this year, and I had just made my Instagram, so I didn't have a lot of followers or even good photos or anything like that. But I guess I just got lucky, and then I went in for an interview. And I guess that was okay because then they said, hey, you can come on the show. And all the details were really secretive until the day we filmed. So literally the day we filmed, I met the other cast members. I got to meet the hosts. And I just learned about Sung Si-kyung, the co-host, because my language exchange partner is a fan of his.
Oh.
And we were reading about his new Seoul album a few days before the show started. So it was all luck. And of course, I knew Baek Jong-won from the Pyeonijumps. He's on all of the labels. This guy is huge. If you're an American, Baek Jong-won is like Imrol and Bourdain and every chef you can think of combined. But in Korea, he's so fantastic. Like he's a nice person. Obviously, he seems like a great family guy and husband and all of that. And then he also creates a lot of killer content. And if you're curious about making traditional Korean food, definitely household name. All of his personal videos actually have excellent English subtitles. So if you go to his Peck's Cuisine YouTube, they have, I think, a native speaker making the subtitles so you can make his food. But yeah, that show I've been going on every week for the last 2 or 3 months. We usually film on Fridays. It comes out Monday nights. Sometimes we drive around the country and film.
Nice.
I went to Daenamu-sup.
대나무숲?
Yeah, like 4.5 hours away.
Wow.
We filmed there.
Far.
Sometimes we film at home. The crew has come to my apartment and filmed.
Nice.
But yeah, it's just been a very interesting experience because I went from studying kind of alone and I would talk in Korean for like 5 minutes a day to order coffee to suddenly learning hundreds of cooking terms, and every Friday is just like all Korean. And at first it hurt my brain, but it's really helping me learn more quickly. And I'm making, great relationships with the other cast members.
It's a great opportunity for you to learn language and meet people, right?
Definitely.
Nice. And Song Si-kyung too. He's so popular.
He's really
in
awesome.
Korea. Yeah.
And if anyone's Korean watching this, his English is like native.
Is it?
Like total native. Like I don't really use those words, easily, like native. Like someone can have perfect English but not sound native by their pronunciation. But he's just like, and he actually, I think, learned several languages. He told us one time. He studied
he's
Japanese,
really smart.
he studied English. He said he was just obsessed with English music and lyrics, and he wanted to know what it meant. And he said he just did everything he could for 2 years, and that's how he learned English.
Like you.
Well, we'll see. But yeah, and actually in a recent episode, we did a duet together.
Nice.
So we'll see if that comes out. There's a
Please,
preview online.
Please.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. Please post it on Instagram.
Oh, sure, we'll do.
I think a lot of chat can check you out on your Instagram. So
Yes,
please, yeah.
Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and my website are all the same handle, just Ryan Kulp.
That's great.
박수.
And also I couldn't make a video out of it because you didn't seem to have a video of it, but I found a website that shows your NFT
Oh, sure.
website, and you actually posted on your Instagram, right?
Oh, sure.
About the monkey picture. I saw it. Where is it? This
Oh,
picture
yeah.
on your Instagram. So he's also working on some kind of NFT project, and I think a lot of chat knows what it's about, but some of them might not know what NFT is, like me, because I don't know what that is.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's like buying some art
So
blockchain or something.
I'm learning about it myself. It's so everyone, of course, is familiar with cryptocurrencies and blockchains and public ledgers that store transactions. NFT, non-fungible token. Fungible is kind of like 수정할 수 있는 거, something you can
So
change.
you cannot change.
You cannot change it. And it's a way to create any asset. It could be a video, it could be a text, it could be an image. Most people are these days using it for art. It allows you to create limited edition digital assets and then give them away or sell them or whatever. And I started getting really deep into this lately. And so this monkey we're looking at, this ape, is called a Rumble Kong. And you can see I have 3 of them because
Yeah.
Rumble Kong is part of a league. Every ape has attributes and skills, like
Okay.
shooting skill and defense skill. And if you have a team of 3, you can play basketball with your Rumble Kongs through their website. So they're finishing building the game now.
So it's like a game character.
it becomes a game character.
Oh.
So they only made 10,000 characters. There's around like 3,000 or 4,000 owners. So the average person has 2 or 3 apes. And you can compete with other people and spend real crypto and earn money from it. So
Okay.
it's this kind of new way to do game. It's like imagine esports with sports betting, with blockchain, all combined.
So you drew this character?
No,
or?
so this is an asset that I bought last week.
Okay.
So I bought maybe 15 or 18 different pieces of art
Oh.
in the last week alone. And I've been really just learning a lot and enjoying this ecosystem. And it kind of inspired me to get involved. So next week with a small team, as usual, I'll be launching an NFT collection that's Korean related. I don't want to give away too many details, but
Yeah.
Tuesday night at midnight, Korea time, 11 a.m.
Nice,
East
nice.
Coast, we're going to launch a small collection, Korean related. We're not doing this to try to make money. We're doing this to kind of make a point and to see how I can combine, again, my tech background with my Korea music, 요즘 stuff.
Yeah. So I still don't get this whole blockchain and NFT concept. I told you I was in a blockchain
Sure.
industry for like a year, and I
Sure.
still don't get it. But it seems cool,
Yeah, I guess the takeaway is if you like playing games online, this allows you to sort of really own your character
Oh.
and transfer it. So
Okay.
you might own this ape and someone else will buy it from you a year from now so that they can play basketball with your Rumble Kong. And that's just one example. These horses, this
Yeah.
is a horse racing thing.
So it's a different game.
Yeah, these are all
game.
different games. There's a chicken racing, horse racing. This dollar that you see, this is a really interesting project that started. So everyone has a buck and it says 1 or 5 or 10. If you give it back to the creator, he will give you that many US dollars. But then he will destroy the buck, which makes every other person who has a buck more valuable
No,
because he only made 150. So there's just a lot of cool things going on and I wanted to get in. And to me, the best way to learn about something is to just do it. And so we're launching an NFT next week.
nice. Another project that's going to be
Another project,
launched
that's right.
next week. I feel like you're very trendy.
I don't know.
You just follow all the trend and just launch your business. That's
stop.
really cool. All right, so please check his Linkify. So Linkify is also done by you.
Yes,
That's so. I didn't know that. It's really similar to
Yes.
what is it? The one that I'm using,
Maybe
Linktree or Linktree.
Yeah. So we made this for the Korean audience. So this whole website's in Korean and English.
Oh.
Depends what you set your browser to. And we realized a lot of people in Korea were using English alternatives that don't connect to KakaoTalk and some of the other Korean tools. So we made Linkify, so it's a better alternative for Korean people.
That's great. Maybe I'll switch into this one.
Sure, I'll give you a free account. Networking.
Oh, it's a free account. Yay!
Yeah, free pro account.
Awesome. Okay, that's great. So let's see if any chat has question. If you guys have any question regarding his entrepreneur experience or his new project, please submit on survey. If you guys have any question, Mod, please, or you can just talk about it right now on chat. Okay, let's see. Met Auntie and Ryan collab. Let's see.
We could do some like expressive dance. Like I can't dance, but like
You
maybe
can?
no, not at all. No, not at all. But
Well, you
like,
can
I
try.
could play. You could dance.
Oh, not today though. Maybe
Okay.
later.
Okay.
Maybe later. One person asked me this one. Can you name 3 people that motivate you the most?
Great.
That's really hard question. I can't think of 3 people that motivates me.
Of only 3, right?
Only 3?
I can think of a lot more than 3.
Really? Nice.
Yeah. I mean, I even get motivated by people who hate me. It's like, if to name them, one, I've already mentioned them. It's Nassim Taleb. He's a writer, math guy, philosopher. He just has so many principles that he lives by that it makes my brain explode when I read his books and try to absorb his ideas. He's such an original thinker. But he really motivates me because he is an example of someone who does everything. He's not focused. So when you try to describe him, it's like, should I call him an author? Should I call him a philosopher? Should I call him a statistician? Should I call him a finance bro because he used to trade stock? It's really hard to put him in a box. And I think humans that are difficult to describe are usually pretty interesting. And of course, I think we all want to be more interesting. So he's someone that I really admire. I don't want to be like him. He, his personality, he's a little bit, tough, you know. But I really admire him. A second person, I'd actually say, I've never said this before, but I'd actually say my dad. I don't know if he'll watch this, but he's also a really principled person. He's a really hard worker. He is the kind of person who, if he meets you, he will like never ask you what you do for a living. He'll just ask you questions about yourself. And nowadays, when we meet people, everybody's obsessed with like, what do you do?
True.
You know, like you have a cocktail in your hand and like, what do you do? What do you do? And it's sometimes when I hear myself say that question, I get annoyed with myself that I'm being kind of like lame. And that's why I like to tell people like, I just drink iced coffee, you know, because I don't want to talk about like, what do I do on a computer that has nothing to do with my opinions and values and feelings. So I really admire my dad for that. And definitely a lot of his character traits passed down to me, like being neat and tidy and I don't know, maybe buying cheap clothes. Third person.
Tarjay.
Yeah, exactly. Third person, I really admire someone who motivates me. Oh, can I spin around to help think? I'm trying to think like who do I watch? What do I consume? Can we come back to this?
Yeah, of course.
There's so many people. That's
Yeah,
why. It's
and-
like, yeah,
Gladly, we have more questions.
great.
How much of an influence your parents have on you with your music and approach to life? Interesting, because you said your dad is one
Right.
of the motivational person in your life.
Right. Ooh, well, to be honest, as a kid, my parents didn't really encourage my music. I mean,
Yeah, you said that.
You know, they of course liked that I played violin, and they got me I think we like split the guitar cost for my 13th birthday. But in terms of doing
Really?
music, yeah, it was like
You were 13 and
I was 13, and they said like, well, you're playing violin, you should just focus on violin. I said, well, I want to do guitar, and they said, well, if you pay half.
oh, but
And
you were only 13 though.
Yeah, so I saved up
Yes.
for like 20. My allowance was $3 per week, and my guitar was $150 Ibanez guitar. It came with a case and a book and a guitar pick and a strap, kind of everything. And so I paid $75. My parents paid $75. So I saved up for like 20 weeks, 23 weeks, my weekly allowance for cleaning the house, and then got the guitar. And actually, even that helped me because learning was really hard at first. And maybe I would have given up if I got it kind of for free. But because I had to suffer to receive that instrument,
You had to work hard.
I put in more work and got over the learning curve, and then became a musician. But yeah, as a kid, besides music being a hobby, my parents really didn't want me to, pursue it. They were very nervous when I said I'm not going to college, right? So I didn't. All of my friends in high school were applying to colleges, and I had really smart friends. So my friends were going to Harvard and Stanford and MIT, and they said, Ryan, where are you going? And I said, I didn't apply. Like, I'm not going to college. I'm going to be, a rock star. And that did it. And then my parents were really freaked out. And so then, I moved out of their house on my 18th birthday. I lived with friends in his basement. Then I made gold teeth for this guy, learned how to do that. And, it was kind of lost. And I was doing music, that All About You song I actually made then, about a girl I was dating, which that didn't work out. And so then finally I did end up going to college a year later. But my parents were always kind of telling me, get a real job, right? And then your music can be a hobby. And I died a little bit inside when I heard that, because I knew that music is really what I want to be doing. But real jobs, of course, make money. And so,
Stable.
yeah, being stable was never really my way of living. So I had some resentment towards my parents for that. And it wasn't until I became an adult in my early 20s that we really fixed our relationship. So on one hand, they impacted my music and career. You could say they had no impact, but I would say it was they had an inverse impact. So because they pushed me away from music, I ended up doing something that's not music, but that thing, tech, allowed me to actually come back to music. So it's kind of like irony that by going away from music, abandoning that dream for a while, I was actually able to learn other skills, get a job, make money, save money, and then come back to music with more resources and motivation than I would have had as a 18-year-old, kid who didn't want to go to school anymore. Yeah.
It's only a real job until it makes money, Staj. That's actually reality, I think.
Right.
I think that's reality, though.
Yeah. I mean, what's also my music wasn't any good. And my music's still, I'm still working on it. So, just like we talked about before, you could quit your job to be an entrepreneur full time, but if your idea and your sales and your customer service isn't any good, it doesn't really matter that you quit your job to focus on it. It just wasn't at the level it needs to be. So I think it was a good thing that I didn't try to become a full-time musician at age 19, because it wouldn't have fixed my actual music. I would have just spent more time writing bad music.
And also, I feel like all the experience, entrepreneur and all the failure and success that you had, it made you become more mature musician, I think.
Definitely. I have more to talk about now.
Yeah.
My teenage music was teenage music.
Yeah.
It was just complaining about parents, like we talked about, complaining about girls. Now I'm trying to, now the new song is going back before masks and lockdown. So a totally different subject matter that I can write about. And so I'm really grateful for that.
That's good. So that's related to that sentence. One of Chara asked again, what is the most unusual skill or talent that you have learned so far? Because we've been talking about how much you've learned throughout your experience, but is there unusual skill or talent that you've learned or you've had?
Oh, that's a good one.
That's hard question though.
There are
Unusual.
there are skills I've tried to learn and failed. I took some art classes 2 years ago while I was traveling. I had an online art class I was taking, tried to learn art, and then I used it to draw some of my own song album art covers. And I kind of used it for that, and then I abandoned the skill. Of course, I learned to code, which has been really useful, but not really unusual. A lot of people do that. Learning Korean has been, I guess, kind of unusual, but I can't say I speak Korean. I'm studying it. A skill I've learned. Learning to make gold teeth when I was 18.
Gold teeth.
So it was actually a Korean guy,
Oh.
and he didn't speak any English. But it's a very hands-on job. So he would show me, and we would get molds, like juhyang in the mail from people, and then turn it from plaster into gold teeth and shave it down.
Wow.
And very kind of technical job, and that was pretty interesting. I don't know, I can't really say I have many skills.
That's great. That's like 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah, 4 or 5 things I've spent time doing. Sure.
Okay.
I love that question though.
Yeah,
That's
I
too
like
bad.
that question. That's a really great question. Okay, thank you so much for answering all the questions. Hopefully, you guys kind of knew or find out who Ryan Kulp is, and as you check out his website, you can find out about his new project and new business going. That's going to be happen next week and from now on, right? Okay, clap. All right, so we have more performance going on. That's why we're here for. So
Yes.
please show your amazing performance to my chat. I'm really excited for the next 2 songs. It's also your new
Yes.
songs, right? Is it both of them in Korean or one of them in English?
I think one is English.
Yeah.
So this new album I'm working on, it's going to be called 외국인 actually, which means foreigner. And foreigner is a very common word in Korea. 외국인, 외국인.
Yes.
You hear it a lot. You don't hear anyone say the word foreigner in English in the United States. It has kind of a different meaning in Korea. Korea just means a non-native Korean. So even maybe
True.
a Korean person from the United States might come to Korea and be called a foreigner. And foreigners, in some ways, are by some people treated a little different, or they're surprised if you speak Korean. Or foreigners, of course, dress different. Foreigners have different jobs a lot of times in Korea than native Koreans. And so this album is a kind of story of a foreigner, but not me, just a foreigner who comes to Korea, leaves behind what he knows, and throughout the album, from the first song to the last song, there's this storyline where he is adapting to the Korean culture, and by the end of the album, like, his life is good. But at the beginning, he's kind of like, you know, hyungsikbyung, homesick, and he's learning along the way. So I think one of my next songs, Signs, is the first song on the album, and the language changes from English to Korean throughout the album as this foreigner learns to speak the language. So
All right.
that's the concept leading into
Wow. I'm more excited after hearing that, story and meaning.
this. Right on.
All right, please.
Okay, I'll go
help us
for
out.
it.
city, I can read the signs on the street of your face. Touchdown feels like 99. Not prepared, it's not fair. Y2K, 어떻게 사랑해? New outfit, I can read the signs on the tag of your face. Cotton feels like clementine. Won't you soften my fabric and soften my place? Could New apartment, I can read the signs on the fridge of your face. Look out the window at night, watch your ghost coming home. So many months ago, your go out to eat, they ask how many, I say one. I order enough for two, so they let me stay. I wonder what you're doing, but you're probably asleep. Not 'cause you're lazy, you're on the other side of the world. 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 What's our next song? What's the name of it? This next song is called 빨리 와. 빨리 와 means come quickly, but more than that, it's kind of a common phrase in Korea. Everything is 빨리 문화. It's a culture of doing things quickly. 내일까지, and you're always kind of working hard for a boss, or maybe your mom wants you to just go buy something at the store. So 빨리 와, it's a phrase I heard a lot when I got here, and I wanted to give it a positive meaning, because I think usually 빨리 와 is like, you know, 빨리 와, you roll your eyes. So this is a 빨리 와, and it's a kind of a guy and a girl kind of story. I don't like how you left last night. Didn't let me walk you to the train. AirPods in your ears, walked on my line.
send you a message, but it still says one. You're awake, check the notification. 그냥 좀 확인해줘. 그만 불리진 않겠지만. I know I'm not your girlfriend, but at night hurting. Don't want no one but you. 그러니까 내 말은 없이 못 살아. 어떻게 되돌아지 알아요. 빨리 와. You know the directions to my crib. Get on come on, 끝이나. Take the 2 to the 6. 빨리 와. We'll put on a movie, yeah, we'll chill. 자막만 있으면 나는 문제 없어. 빨리 와. Drink Americano, 소주 꺼. 2잔 왔잖아. 준비돼 있어. 빨리 와. What would we do? 솔직히 didn't think this far. 아무도 we can play VR. 아니면 우리 섞어놀이 할까? 일단 내 셔츠 입으면 천재야 천재봐 나한테 말할게 아름다워. 너는 부끄러워할 때지만 그런 모습도 너무 예뻐. 다음날 아침에 우리 산책할 거야. 아무거나 한가 치킨 시켜 반반. No this ain't no 카드방 다 줄 거야 따따. Did you like the 맛장난 다리 코드 만나. 남자친구 아니지 그런 내 왜 아프지. Don't wanna hang with no one but you. What I'm trying to say is running out of patience. There's just one thing for you to do. 빨리 와. You know the directions to my crib. Get on come 끝이나. Take the 2 to the 6. 빨리 와. We'll put on a movie and we'll chill. 자막만 있으면 많은 문제 없어. 빨리 와. Drink Americano 소주 꺼. 2잔 있잖아. 준비돼 있어. 빨리 와. Bali. Wish I had a band, but that was fun.
But I mean, you're gonna hear it with the full band. So, I feel like you put a lot of your cultural experience that you've experienced in Korea, right? In your song.
Well, there's like, you were in the United States. In America, if 2 people are dating, let's say,
Okay.
that are not the same race, it doesn't matter. Like, nobody cares. And when I came to Korea, I learned this term, international couple. Like,
International
it
couple.
It would be like
Yes.
weird, right? In America, if you were like, international couple.
True, you don't. True, in America, there's no term called international couple.
Yeah. Well, plus, like, you wouldn't, like, maybe they're both American, so it wouldn't even be true anyway. But if it is true, people would still think it's like a strange thing to say. And so in these songs, this is obviously this foreigner, he's coming. If he's going to live here and adapt, he's probably going to date people here or at least have friends here. Unless he's one of those weird people that just comes here and only hangs out with other foreigners. But he wants to adapt. And so that experience is going to be different. So I wanted to talk about that. So it's like, talking about let's put on a movie as long as we have tamak, as long as we have captions, it'll be fine. Let's get a coffee. Well, in Korea, we drink iced Americanos. 얼주가, 준비해줄게. So it's like, I wanted to honor the Korean dating scene.
Okay.
Like, this is what people do. They go to coffee dates. The girl dresses really nice. Sometimes the guy also dresses nice in his linens and everything. The guy takes a lot of photos, so she looks awesome.
On Instagram.
Yeah, this is like a normal afternoon date. At least the young people I see around Hongdae, where I live, where there's a lot of colleges. And I wanted to like merge that in to the lyrics and learning a lot of interesting things like 카드방.
카드방?
Do you know this one?
Card room?
카드방 is like when you go to a restaurant, like 편의점, and everyone's arguing to pay at the end, right?
Okay.
So in Korean, it's really common, like, oh, pay, no, you pay.
Oh, yeah.
So everyone gives their credit card to the cashier, and they decide whose card to swipe.
What?
카드방, like a shooting.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I think it's like an insa.
Oh, Insta.
So like I learned about it. I was like, I gotta put this in a song. Like this, the lyric is like, this isn't no 카드방. Like 다 사줄게. You know, like I'll buy everything. We're not doing like that.
You guys heard about that? Like Russian roulette.
Yeah, Russian roulette for who pays. And
That's
it can
kind
make
of cool idea though.
If you go on Instagram, there's a hashtag like 카드방, and you'll see people filming
Really?
doing it at like the 편의점. So
That's
things
actually
like
a
that.
really good idea.
Yeah.
Wow.
So every lyric I'm trying to like absorb. What is it like to be here, to date here, to live here? Some of it I'm keeping it in Korean. Like kadbang doesn't translate.
In English.
Right. But sometimes I say it in English. Yeah.
Wow. I feel like you know more trend in Korea than me.
Come
Because I don't really go
stop.
outside. And it's actually first time hearing kadbang.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
It might just be like really young people. I've never done it. I just learned about it. Yeah.
Interesting. Wow. What was the most difficulties when you first came to Korea? That's actually one of Chat's
Yeah.
question too, because one of Chat said, I may be moving either Korea or America for work in a few years. What is the best and the worst part of living in Korea? Or both?
The best part, easy. It's really safe. And to be clear, I'm an American. I've lived in major cities. I've lived in New York City for years. I always felt safe, like in America.
In America?
Yeah, I don't want to make it sound like America is really dangerous just because there are guns or something like that. But what I mean by safe in Korea is like you can drop your keys, wallet, credit card, and you'll probably get it back. Whereas if I lost my credit card in America, I would probably immediately cancel it.
Yeah.
If you lose it in Korea, just like wait a day and you'll find it. So the other day I lost my driver's license at a print cafe, a 24/7 place, because I left it on the scanner. So by trying to make a copy of it, I lost it. And I went back there a few days later, but it's muin, so there's no employees. So I'm opening drawers and stuff, and I find a box with like 50 credit cards, a Korean passport, some cell phone chargers, and my ID.
Nice.
So I go through, I find my ID, and then I hold up to the cameras like, 안녕하세요, 라연입니다. I left this and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, that would never happen in New York City.
True.
It would be stolen, at least at best, the employee would just throw it away, right? They would cut it up, throw it away. And at worst, it would be stolen. You can go to a cafe and literally leave the cafe while your laptop's on the counter and just come back. I don't recommend doing that. I think that's maybe rude, but like nothing will happen to it.
It's not rude though in Korea.
If they're busy, you know what I mean.
Oh, like cafe?
Yeah.
They're busy?
But it's like, you just can't do that in the West. You can't do it in Europe, really. You can't do it in South America. And that made me kind of sad. So that's my favorite part about Korea. But my least, or what was really hard coming out here is just so many basic parts of life that we take for granted when we know the language. So like setting up Wi-Fi, a delivery guy who has like some specific reason he needs to call you, and any of those kinds of interactions were really difficult for me. They're still difficult for me. And sometimes I still have a Korean person help me with that. Setting up a bank account, that was a long time ago. So I had a Korean person go with me. So that kind of stuff, again, it just humbles you all the time. Like, I can't be totally independent in Korea yet. I'm almost there. I have all the accounts. I know a lot of words. I study a lot. I can speak a little bit. But I still need help every week with something. Like, I just got a parking ticket, right? So I just bought a car. I got a parking ticket. I had no idea how to pay it. There's no website or anything. I start Googling around. I find expat sites. Can't find anywhere to pay. When you call, it's like really difficult to get through the system. So I haven't paid it yet. I don't know how. I'm gonna have to have a Korean person help me with that. So that's been I guess a bummer. Like, the easy things become difficult when you move to another country with a new language.
Yeah. I think it's just a learning lifestyle here, as one of Chat said, right?
Definitely, just adapting. And if you are patient and you learn to adapt, then it's worth it.
You're gonna get there.
Right, for sure.
Yeah. I like how you also talked about 빨리빨리 in Korean culture. Did you like feel that all Korean like love fast
Yeah,
and
well,
quick?
It's funny because I've never really haven't had a real job in Korea, like with the Korean company where I'm experiencing this. But I listen to other people complain about their job, and I watch dramas like Misang.
Yeah.
Which Misang is kind of a show 6-7 years ago that came out. It's kind of a drama. It's not funny. There's no romantic thing,
Yeah,
unlike every other Korean show.
It's about Korean corporate life.
Korean corporate life for the newbies, for the people who became interns and then full time. And I've watched it with Koreans, and I pause it like, is this real? Like, do you think that scene was realistic? And they might say, like, yeah, that's kind of how it is sometimes. So yeah, Baliwa was like one of the first phrases I heard, and I guess you see it in day-to-day life too. Like, if you get in an elevator,
Oh yeah.
the moment you step in an elevator in Korea, every person is gonna start smacking the button to close the doors.
Yeah.
Right? But then the Baliwa thing is on both sides of that exchange. So in other words, if someone is trying to get onto the elevator, they will run up and push the button to open it. But then there's the element of like being polite. So even though everyone in the elevator is ready to go, they're ready to go up to their floor, and everyone's smashing the close button, when someone else runs up and smashes the open button, no one complains.
No one complains.
No, maybe in their head, but like nobody makes a grunt noise.
No.
In New York City, someone would say, "What the fuck?"
Right? So
If
I
someone
actually
did that.
experienced that.
You experienced that,
Yeah.
yeah. In Korea, it's like, okay, so there's this like, I really want to go where I'm going, but you really want to get in the elevator, so it's like a clash because it's the same mindset. Let's do it quickly, but they're working against each other sometimes. So it's been cool to experience that. But living in New York City for like 7 years before Seoul, I think that prepared me for the faster pace lifestyle. You know, if you go in a pizza place in New York City, a $1 slice, and there's a line, and they say, "What do you have?" And you go, and you look at the menu, they say, "Next."
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
they don't wait.
I didn't know that.
So that's more intense than Korea, for example.
Damn.
So
At
it's,
least Korean, they don't do that.
Yeah, Korean
they
don't
don't
do
do
that.
that next to customer, you know?
no, they don't do that.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's just my opinion, by the way. I'm not trying to speak for
Yeah,
all
yeah,
New
of course,
Yorkers
of
or all
course.
Koreans, but
That's really interesting. There's a meme like in Korea where it's like a picture, meme picture, and close button, elevator close button is always like vague because so many people press
Yes.
it. So it always like what is it? Erase.
Yes.
Get erased because
That's
so many
so
people
true.
erase it.
that's so
And,
true.
like press it. Yeah, that is so true. I always do that. I always do like
yeah.
yeah. That's really interesting.
And it's kind of like the responsibility of the person closest to the door. If it's a full elevator and you're standing next to the button, everyone
have
kind
to
of stares at you so that you
True.
push the button.
And if you don't press it, they always give it a look.
Right,
Why are you not?
역시,
Yeah. Why are you not
like,
pressing it?
yeah.
That's actually so true. So true. Koreans are fast but not rude. I think Koreans, they don't know how to speak up. I feel like they are afraid of speak up. So like even though they like fast things, if someone is like slow, they can't say, "Oh, like do it right away."
I think,
I feel like.
I've observed
the public.
that, like on the road, for example.
Yeah.
So in New York, honking is really common. Maybe New York is the most common city in the United States I've ever been to for honking. You just hear it, especially between taxis. In Korea, people cut each other off all the time, and they kind of do bad
have a
traffic
crest.
things. But you don't hear a lot of honking.
Yeah, you don't.
So the person might be upset, but they're not going to like get out of their car, or yell and scream.
Oh,
So-
they don't do that.
Never.
They might honk, but they don't really get out of the car.
Right. Not like me when what I used to do. once or twice in Atlanta, I got out of my car.
Really?
This is when like I'm going across the street and someone breaks
Oh,
the stop sign.
that's
Like
so
when they
bad.
almost kill me. You know, I've gotten out of my car then because it's like beyond just my opinion. It's like, man, you really got to look at the stop sign. But, yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, all of that combined turns into like Baliwa, like let's hang out.
Yeah.
Come over quickly, let's hang out.
빨리 와, 빨리 와.
Yeah.
Wow. So I feel like you adapted to Korean culture really fast, like lifestyle here as well.
I've tried to, I think to me, culture, and I've only been learning about the concept of culture ever since coming to Korea because whatever culture you grow up in, you can't like see it. You don't see what is culture versus human nature until you go into a new culture. And when I came to Korea, I started this theory that like culture is a magazine subscription or like a YouTube subscription. You pick and choose which
Wow.
elements
That's a
of the
good
culture you subscribe to. So in Korea, for example, one cultural element is taking off your shoes when you go to a house. And sometimes businesses or photo studios or wherever. And it is not worth breaking that cultural rule ever. Like never do it. What's the point? Plus your house is going to be cleaner if you take off your shoes. But another cultural element, using 존댓말 to someone you don't know or to an
Formal
older
language.
person. There's no like benefit of breaking that and speaking 반말 to people. But some cultural elements, I totally break. I break in half, and I don't care. So, for example, if I go running outside, I take my shirt off.
Oh.
If it's like hot or something.
That's very.
That's strange
That's
in Korea.
not strange, but unusual.
It's unusual.
It's very unusual.
You don't really see it. I've
No.
seen 1 or 2 guys ever in the last year running with no shirt on. And so, you know, sometimes people stare at me, but I don't really care. And like, I know I'm not aligned with the culture, but it's like...
Catchy hyper.
Yeah, catchy hyper.
So that's actually an emote
I see.
on Twitch. So where they see a naked man, they write catchy hyper.
Got you hyper, I like it. Now we have like a screen frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. You get stared at when you run with no shirt on in Korea, but it's like, that's worth the trade-off for me. I'm not hurting anyone. It's totally legal. It's fine.
Yeah, of course.
I like tanning, and I get bad nipple chafing. So there's like a lot of multitasking going on.
Okay.
But it's kind of like that. So if you go to America, you'll see aspects of American culture that you like and that you don't like. And you have to decide which ones should I just follow and deal with, and which ones are okay to break.
That's great. I feel like you're finding the balance here.
Exactly, trying to find a balance.
Have you ever felt like, oh, I want to go back to home?
Not
Because
really.
you're living in a foreign country.
Not really. I think the only feelings I've had about wanting to be back in America lately are really not because of Korea, just because of lockdowns in general. You know, so like if I went to Texas, I would have a very different lifestyle. There's no masks required. People are out on the lake and the river, hanging out. In Korea, like I went to Yangyang a couple weeks ago, and I literally wasn't allowed to go in the ocean. And I ran into the ocean, and the lifeguard was blowing his whistle at me and said, I'm not allowed to swim in the ocean. You can just like let the water, like that would literally never happen in
Interesting.
America. Like you go to the beach and you do whatever you want. You can drown, you're welcome to do whatever you want. And in Korea, like the lifeguards are trained to blow their whistle while you drown. So I thought that was strange. Those moments make me think, I would prefer a more free
Freedom.
lifestyle at this moment, but I can't say that like I want to get out of Korea. I just want the world to return to normal, and then Korea will be more free too.
Yeah, I know. It's so strange. Why wouldn't they not like allow swimming? What does that have to do with
I
like
truly have no idea.
COVID? It's really interesting.
And another beach in Yangyang, you can only surf, you can't swim,
Oh, what?
which is way more dangerous.
It's really interesting. It's really interesting. Yeah, lockdown is kind of bad in Korea right now.
Yeah.
I heard.
Korean lockdown is next level, but it makes you appreciate freedom. And some of us were able to get things done when you're
Yeah.
home. Don't know how it is for parents with young kids, but
Yeah.
yeah, just always trying to make the best of it, you know.
That's good. Well, I'm glad that you're not enjoying, but like you're adapting
That's
the
right.
lifestyle in Korea.
Right.
That's great. That's great. Okay, so I prepared some of games, but we're kind of running out of time. I don't want to hold you too long since it's kind of late night and Friday or Saturday night, right? What do you do usually on Saturday? Do you like party a lot or?
I used to go out. Now that we're not really able to, sometimes I have people over to my house, or I just catch up on like email.
Yeah.
I don't really do anything super fun on the weekend. I actually try to do more of the fun stuff on the weekdays. To me, that's more of like a plexu.
Really?
Yeah, so like go out of town on Monday.
Oh.
If you can do that, it's less crowded, the hotels are cheaper, whatever it is that you want to do. Everyone's kind of like living for the weekend. So when you can like take days off in the middle of the week, it really feels nice, I think, psychologically. But yeah, typically I'd say 50% of the weekends I kind of work or I read or something like that.
Because interesting part is the next song is about Saturday, right?
That's right.
Yeah. What is it about? Can you kind of?
So this song
us-
is the last song on the album. So we talked about the concept earlier. From the beginning song to the last song, this foreigner learns Korean. They learn to adapt to Korea. At the beginning, they are lonely and homesick, and they don't have anyone. And by the end, Saturday, this song, they have sort of found their person. And so this is kind of a love song saying, hey, like, babe, whatever, Chaki, what do you want to do? Like, what do you want to do today? It's just a chill Saturday. Yeah, it's the first kind of like almost full Korean song I wrote. Again, got a lot of help from my sensei님,
Yeah.
Bongja, to make it right. And I've performed this a few times in Hongdae, so
Yeah.
this will be fun.
All right. I'm excited to hear your Saturday song
Sure.
on Saturday.
Yeah,
It feels special.
yeah, thank
All
you.
right. Let's hear it
do it.
together.
자기야 어디로 갈까요? 날씨가 좋으니까 maybe the pool. Can't believe I'm saying these words to you. 진짜 토요일인가 꿈꾸고 있나? 네가 없으면 시간 진짜 안 간다. 너랑 있으면 걱정 없어. 널 처음 봤을 때 갑자기 똑바로 살기로 다짐했지. 이런 사람 내게 와줄 줄이야. 아직도 나 믿지 못하겠어. 네가 없으면 시간 진짜 안 간다. 너랑 있으면 걱정 없어. 만나기 전에 난 길을 잃고 이번 생은 아닌가 했는데 너만 하고 네가 없으면 시간 진짜 안 간다. 너랑 있으면 진짜 좋다. 자기야 어디로 갈까요? 날씨가 좋으니까.
All right.
Ooh.
Okay, that was A Saturday by Ryan Kulp, and it's going to be on the new album?
That's on the new album. That was a rough Saturday, unfortunately.
Why?
Rough edition.
Why?
Oh, too much practicing this
do
week.
you need more water? Or?
Oh, if we have. I'm not blaming the water. I'm blaming myself.
Oh, no, don't do that. It's just for fun,
It is
for
just for
fun.
fun.
And I like how we were able to hear your story. And I'm pretty sure, including myself, a lot of chat got a lot of inspire from you.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Thank you so much for sharing all the
Thank you.
feeling and experience that you had throughout your life. So one last question I have before we end the show, and this is the last interview said. So I feel like you had a lot of ups and downs, but you were able to find like positive facts or positive elements from all the downs and struggles that you had. What do you think that made you into a success person, a person right now? Because it's not easy to turn or change that struggles into positive elements to make you more mature and make you more better person.
Right.
So what do you think that made your success?
First of all, luck. I owe a ton of credit to luck, and even luck itself is a really interesting kind of concept. And there's a lot of types of luck, and we don't have to talk about it now, but I recently learned just a few years ago, there's like deterministic luck, and there's random luck, and there's like dumb luck, and people have written books about these types of luck. And so I would say first, I've had success because I've been very lucky, but I've also learned through that process that we can create our own luck. We can do things that then result in like more luck happening to us. All of us know this, I think, too. Like, be a good person and smile when you meet someone and ask them questions about themselves. Well, now you're going to build better relationships, and you're going to have more luck in building relationships because of those decisions you made about how to interact. But there's other types of luck. Like, I'm an American. Like, I was lucky to be born in America instead of, somewhere that's not as fortunate. I'm not going to name any particular country and pick on somebody. I'm lucky to have like good parents. And those things I can't control, and I don't get any credit for that. But in terms of maybe my story that's been up to me, things in my control, it's just developing a self-belief. So to me, all of us can do anything. Like you can do anything. And I want you to know that you can do anything. And you're already actually doing things that some people dream of doing right now, literally right now. You are living someone else's dream, but you don't see it because like it's not, because you're stuck in like your own, this is just my opinion. Like you said earlier, like you're worried about the numbers and the followers and whatever. But like right now what you're doing is someone else's dream. And we have to remind ourselves of that. So it's like, yeah, my goals are bigger than what I did yesterday, but like I'm doing well, and I just have to believe that I can keep climbing this this mountain. And this mountain is just like the process of really believing, and then I do it, and then I really believe I can do the next thing. So self-belief, which has been coming from like, again, believing in a higher power, reading books, getting encouragement from really smart people who have helped me over the years, being lucky, and then lastly, creating our own luck, which is actually incidentally the next song that I was going to share with everybody.
Nice. Yeah. That's great. True. You can do everything. Yeah. Thank you so much for really inspirational words.
It was really fun to do this.
And last but not least, question: how did you feel to be on my show as a guest?
This was killer. This
Really?
is like, like I came to Korea, right? I didn't know anybody except the one guy. And it's like, well, how do I meet people? It's like, well, I need to learn a language. I need to be nice. I need to learn where Gangnam is, you know, from Gangnam Style. Like I had to learn all these things, and it's starting to feel like I live here now. It's starting to feel like Korea is a home, and I could be here a long time. And I don't know how long I'll be able to be here, but it's starting to feel comfortable and not like my heartbeat is raised whenever I wake up and realize I'm not in, America. So coming on your show felt like I'm doing something right. It's like I'm getting involved in what Korea is all about, and so many eyes around the world are looking at Korea right now because of K-pop, obviously because of the stuff in the North always, but like there's so much interesting stuff coming out of Korea. A lot of more people than ever are learning Korean. K-dramas are like getting to be better and better. I've watched a bunch of them, to be honest. And so I'm just really grateful to be here, and like driving in my own car to Gangnam feels very surreal. Like a couple years ago, I could have never imagined this being my life. So then coming on the show tonight, like even drinking iced Americanos, that being part of my day, just feels like, wow, what's happening? But I'm so, fortunate. So coming on this show is like a symbol. It was that instant feedback loop we talked about earlier. It's like, gave me this feeling of like, maybe I'm doing something right. Like, I'm not a total idiot for like leaving behind New York and tech. Like, maybe this can really work. And again, that's strengthening my self-belief, and then we're gonna keep going forward.
Thank you so much for making this look like more valuable show. Well, I'm pretty sure we can do like more collaboration in the future. Not only my talk show, but like in some ways, we have a lot in common. And this is another great networking, I think. I don't know what I can give, but there should be something.
Giving so much, look around, come on.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right, no problem. And are you ready for the last performance?
Yes.
Do you need some water?
Sure, maybe I'll do a quick water.
혹시 물 가능하나요? Do you guys have any?
사장님 물도 괜찮아요.
사장님 물도. Do you guys have any last question to Ryan? Sad. It's very dry here because it's kind of underground.
감사합니다.
Great content. Thank you. Oh, how did we meet? Oh, great question. So he's actually Iris' friend, right? So I asked Iris if there's any good people who can be on my show, and Iris recommended me him. So yeah, that's how we got contact.
Exactly.
An interesting part, Iris and him, how they met was also interesting, right?
Right. So, so I guess a couple angles, if Iris is watching. One was just through Instagram, right? And then wanting to collaborate and do music together. And then realizing Iris is in Seattle, and I've played shows in Seattle at the same venue that she recently performed at. And so I said, like, that was the day we were introduced. I said, hey, I've played there because this venue has like a chandelier. So you kind of recognize it. And she said, did you meet Sheldon? And I'm thinking, like, who is Sheldon? You know, I played there a couple years ago. So I Googled like Ryan Kulp and the name of this place, Thames Tavern. And there's a photo of me and the chandelier, just like Iris's photo. And the caption, and I never write captions on my blog, but my caption says, great playing here tonight, thanks to Sheldon for making me sound good. So he must have been like the manager or sound guy. And so somehow we knew this other same person from years ago in Seattle where Iris lives. So yeah, it felt like destiny. So then she introduced us. And that's been like my whole life in Korea. It's like, I go meet someone for coffee, and then it turns into this other thing and snowball.
So world is so small too.
So small.
Yeah. So thanks to Iris once again. I
thank you,
texted her.
Iris.
I texted her and said, "Thank you, Iris, for introducing him to me." So that's how we met. All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming to another live and talk show. Today was 9th, and thank you for being my guest. Please check out Ryan's Linkify for more of his project and soon to be released album on September 30th. And my show will be, we're not gonna get personal question. Maybe if he ever turns on his Instagram like stream, you can ask him if he's single or not. I don't know, but today's show is professional. We don't take a personal question. But that was a really good try. It was just like.
Are you single?
Am I single? Oh yeah, I'm single.
Oh, okay, I didn't know she didn't know.
Oh yeah. I've already.
You.
This is my chat, so I've already like exposed a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, but yeah, thank you so much. There it is. All right, guys, thank you so much for coming to today's talk show. I know it's really early time for some of you guys, or late time for some of you guys, but I'm glad that you guys could make it to this show and hear Ryan's music and his great story. And my content, live talk show content, will be monthly, once in a month. So please join my Discord and check out YouTube and Twitter for more information and content. Thank you so much, Ryan. And hope you guys have a great rest of day and night. Thank you.
I'm a man, father taught me work as hard as I can. Sits on your mind, make me proud or die trying. So I told my hands, bear it all till you understand why I'm on this earth long enough to write this next verse. Sipping on port, 20 years age on a weekday morn. Think about monkeys on Mount Bator, surfing the coast of Portugal, and a rooftop dinner in Shanghai, a desert safari in Dubai. These are the fruits of my work. Now it's time to get yours. Somebody asked me, how do you do it? When you say all the thoughts in your head, deleted the message,
But here's what I'd say. We don't make excuses, regrets are just for losers. Give us a problem, we're bound to work it out. They're trying to distract us, we just keep our focus. Gotta remind them we make our own luck. We make our own luck. We make our own luck. Excuse me for trying to rap right now. I just got a lot of things I gotta say right now. You don't believe in yourself, man? Probably right. If bold and believe in yourself, you get spite from the haters and negators. You can call them now and laters. Yeah, they don't believe a single thing. They just sit around and dream. But if you're losing, they'll give up on you. And if you're winning, wannabes will cuddle up on you. Cause here's the thing, nobody wanna face their own fallacies. Chase a dream over guaranteed salary? Are you crazy? Guess what? I'm retarded. OCD, Tourette's, and some, don't get me started. Yeah, I never took a guitar lesson. Here we are, bobbing heads to the short B section. Higher pitch, raise the energy, that's my confession. Classes missed, it's confused, our blues very lesson. Somebody asked me, how do you do it? Achieve all the thoughts in your head. Ignore the message, here's what to say. We don't make excuses, regrets are just for losers. Give us a problem, we're bound to work it out. We're trying to distract us, we just keep our focus. Gotta remind them we make our own luck. 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 Okay. The last song is, I actually just finished this 2 days ago. I'll explain. The last song is called 끝말잇기. 끝말잇기 is a word game in Korean where someone says a word and whatever the last syllable of the word is, you say a new word. So in English, if I said open, then the other person would say pencil. In Korean, though, it's a lot more fun because the way you make words is more modular. So you can play this game for hours, and it gets really intense. So I learned this game and wanted to turn it into a song because all of us know what it's like to kind of try to get with someone, but you're just playing games with each other. You're playing word games, and you're talking past each other. So as this foreigner who's learning a new language and trying to maybe date these different people, he's playing 끝말잇기 with them kind of literally and metaphorically. So they're trying to figure out how to get along. So that's what this song is about. I finished it 2 days ago, and my friend CJ, he's a rapper that I actually grew up with in Atlanta, Georgia. We've been collaborating on songs for maybe 4 or 5 years now. So he actually did the second verse, which you're going to hear, and so I'll sing along to the instrumental track, 노래방 karaoke style. So I hope you like it. This is called 끝말잇기. 맥주 주말 말고. Okay. We're playing 끝말잇기 all night. I can't seem to get my words right. Every time I try to kiss you, babe, yeah, you turn the other way. Laying in my bed, playing with my pride. 당하고 있잖아, it's killing me inside. When I make a left, swear you always go right. Let's meet in the middle, and no need to fight. 아무튼 I'm yours. 천천히 생각해. 선택하기까지도 미안해줄 수 있어. I guess let's change the subject. 익숙해지기는 싫어. 점점 흥미진진해지는데 playing 끝말잇기 all night. But I can't seem to get my words right. 네가 키스하려고 할 때 말은 너는 던져 보조해. CJ.
if I am, then that's my bad. I did what I did, and I can't take that back. I gave you my heart, and you gave it back. 끝말잇기 all night, and I can't seem to get my words right. 네가 기다리고 할 때 말은 너는 던져보지 왜. Do you wanna try with me, baby? See how long we last forever, maybe. 맥주 주마 말이기는 come on. We're playing 끝말잇기 all night. I can't seem to get my words right. 네가 기다리고 할 때 말은 너는 던져보지 왜. Thank you everyone for listening. It's been nice to meet you tonight. Thank you.